Good morning, 5 o'clock now. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We'll have cloudy skies today, some rain showers returning this afternoon. Cooler, too. Our high temp will be about 76 today. Rain, by the way, expected all throughout the holiday weekend. In the news, it appears that tensions are mounting over Iran's standoff with the U.S. Axios reports that President Trump and Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu held a tense phone call with President Trump defending the diplomatic process and Netanyahu urging the president to resume military strikes. Here's President Trump as he landed in Washington yesterday after delivering the commencement address at the Coast Guard Academy in Connecticut.
Right on the borderline, believe me. If we don't get the right answers, it goes very quickly. We're all ready to go. We have to get the right answers. It would have to be a complete 100% good answer.
The Wall Street Journal's reporting that Israel doubts that Iran would stick to any agreement to dismantle its nuclear program. A new lawsuit filed against the Tennessee Highway Patrol by several immigration rights groups. In it, they accuse THP of conducting joint operations with immigrations and customs enforcement officers by allowing ICE agents to travel along with them during routine traffic stops in Nashville, Robertson County, and in Memphis. The suit says those stops are being used as a cover for immigration enforcement. Well, today kicks off the Memorial Day weekend travel rush. Roads and airports will see crowds beginning today.
Even though gas prices and airfares are up this year, Memorial Day weekend travel is expected to be record-breaking. AAA predicts 45 million Americans will travel at least 50 miles from home beginning today through Monday. 3.5 million are expected to fly domestically. AAA says top domestic places people are going to over the holiday weekend: Orlando, Seattle, New York, Las Vegas, Miami, and San Francisco. Alex Stone, ABC News.
And market numbers now brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
Wall Street ended Wednesday with optimism as President Trump teases a possible resolution for the war with Iran, as well as the looming release of AI tech giant NVIDIA's first quarter earnings. The Dow closing up 1.3%, 645 points, with the S&P 500 up 79, 1.8%, and the Nasdaq ahead 1.5%, 400 points. Crude oil dropped to below $100 a barrel. New data from the International Energy Agency finds that due to ongoing concerns over oil and energy costs, nearly 30% of cars sold globally this year will be electric. Of those vehicles, Chinese automakers supplied around 60% of electric cars sold worldwide. European and North American automakers each account for about 15%. The battle over fast food dominance. Straggling Wendy's has tapped former Potbelly head Bob Wright as its latest chief executive. Chuck Severson, ABC News.
It's a mixed bag on the pre-markets here. We've got Dow futures up 75, but NASDAQ futures unchanged right now. The S&P futures gaining 4 points. That's the latest news. We've got your traffic next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. I'm not seeing any delays so far this morning. Things are looking great on all the major roadways. It's just wet, so that may cause some problems this morning. Be careful as you head out. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.506 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you, friends. Hope you are doing well, and welcome on in to your Thursday. It is May 21st. I'm a little confused, though. I got to just tell you right off the bat, I'm utterly confused.
Why?
Because, Joan, you told me in our pre-show meeting that today is Getaway?
Today's Getaway Day. Yeah.
I thought Friday was Getaway Day, heading into a Memorial Day weekend. It's the Thursday?
It's always Thursday, yeah.
I did not know that. You know
People
why?
take that
Because
long weekend thing.
I never get away.
I know. You're the hardest working man in Radio America.
As much as people would like me to get away, and people have asked me to get away, I just never really get away. Now, welcome back, Joan. It's great to see you again.
Thank you.
You were missed.
Like
we love Jay Harper, but
Don't mislead the radio audience. There's no seeing you right now. She's working from home.
Oh, well.
I can see him.
I can see Joan and I FaceTime during the show now these days. So I can see her, but other people can't. But just know that, Joan looks great. Anyway, so there you go. Although what's funny is we had that whole conversation yesterday about whether or not it was okay.
Did you learn nothing?
Yeah, we had a whole conversation yesterday, Joan, about whether or not it was appropriate to compliment women at work. And I think my blanket recommendation was never compliment a woman at work.
Yeah, and then you lied and said you never have.
Okay, but here's what's funny, though. I don't consider Joan a woman.
What?
I consider no.
Oh, she's one of the boys.
Yes. Welcome back. You're not a woman.
I know. That's what I mean, though. I consider Joan such a close friend and coworker that I consider her, just a friend that is a woman. Why did I say that? I don't even know.
I'm not really sure, Dan. I'm just not sure.
Listen, the whole gender confusion thing is the left's. That's their
exactly right.
You.
Well, I think I trust Joan so much that I trust that I can tell Joan that she looks great and she's not going to haul me into human resources.
I need a shovel sound effect for when you just keep digging the hole.
Mm-hmm. Joan, I thought I was glad that you were back, and then the last 2 minutes happened, and here we are. Anyway, very good.
Not
But everyone, now Joan has had, just very quickly, Joan has had quite the adventure getting back to the state of Tennessee.
My goodness.
You had flights that were delayed and just the whole thing. Oh, and
storms. They had to reroute the where the plane took, like the route that we took. That they parked our plane on the runway and said, "Okay, we have to figure out a new way to get to Nashville because the storms." So we sat on the tarmac for forever waiting for that to be relayed to us, and then we finally took off. But yeah, lots of storms, and that made a mess.
And at 5:35, this is a professional radio tease. At 5:35, you're not going to believe what happened to Joan's luggage.
Oh my gosh.
We're going to tell the whole story, Joan.
It's been an adventure.
It has been a long, crazy trip for one Joan Jones. Yeah. All right. Can we talk about Hakeem Jeffries real quick?
Only if we must.
So have you heard what's going on? I know, Sam, you've probably heard what's going on, where Hakeem Jeffries, the Congressional Black Caucus, and the NAACP is now asking, I need audio and video. The NAACP is now asking black athletes to boycott colleges in the South.
To boycott institutions within the SEC that belong to states that have unleashed these Jim Crow-like racially oppressive tactics, which is unacceptable, unconscionable, and un-American. And we believe that the silence of these institutions is complicity. That's right. And we will not stand for it.
Big golf clap. Do you know this sound? Is it just me, or does this sound like parody? Like it sounds like parody.
You ever seen Idiocracy?
Idiocracy. And you've got all these, first of all, my favorite part of this is that it's clearly, it looks to me anyway, like it is overcast. And old Hakeem is wearing shades, right? So that's part of why I think that Hakeem Jeffries is a stain on society. I think Hakeem Jeffries is one of the most politically vile politicians that I've seen in a long time. And I went on and on about him yesterday. I'm not going to do much today, but I think that the man is vile. But to be clear, what they are saying is that black athletes should not accept a full ride scholarship to a university in Tennessee, maybe the Volunteers or Vanderbilt or whatever, because Democrats are losing their political battle. So this shows you the selfishness of the political left. Give up your future for our fight. They've identified 8 states that they are targeting, telling young black athletes not to go to schools in Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, Florida, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas. Are there any good schools in those 8 states?
Oh, my God.
Joan, is there any good colleges in those
That's
8 states?
crazy.
You know, the SEC. Well,
Yes.
Literally the whole SEC.
Yeah, isn't that like the SEC is one of, if not the premier
That's the
college divisions? Okay.
No, if you're from the state of Tennessee, if you're from the South, it is the. I mean, and if we're honest, the Big Ten, Pac-12, they pale in comparison when you look at the longevity and the history and the culture. And
Well, some of the best college players have come out of the SEC.
Yeah.
And look
Oh.
at Alabama. Some of the best coaches.
you want to go to the NFL?
Bear Bryant.
You're a young black man from an urban area. You want to go to the NFL? You're going to the SEC. You are guaranteed to go in the top 5 of the draft if you perform well at a high level at an SEC school.
For some of these men,
Top 5 rounds.
right? For some of these men, this is a way out of poverty, right? Sports is a way out of crime-ridden communities and gangs for some of these young men. And these Democrats, it does kind of have a ring to it. Joan, you haven't been here, but, Trump has now deemed the Democrats the Democrats.
I'm in love with this. So I did spend many hours, rocking a baby, scrolling through the news. And when I saw the Democrats thing, I thought, why didn't anybody else pick up on such a cool name?
Yep. I've called them Democrats.
Oh, I like that too.
You like Democrats too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Democrats.
Well, listen, I will acquiesce to President Trump. Because we know what happens when you disagree with Donald Trump, you lose your job. At least if you're a politician.
Pronto. Man,
Oh,
what a
Thomas,
sweep that was.
You didn't hear my my epic scream fest about Thomas Massey yesterday, Joan.
Yeah, no?
No,
What were
no.
you screaming about?
I don't want to redo it again, but basically Thomas Massey, some of the things that he said in his concession speech.
That he couldn't find his opponent because he was in
Tel Aviv.
That
Yeah.
was absolutely. And then he, right after that, said that the whole campaign's been on the up and up, and he's been.
Right. He's been taking the
honestly.
high road this whole time.
Yeah.
By the way, have you heard about the Lauren Boebert rumor and Thomas Massey?
What?
All right, never mind. I'm not going to go there then. I'm not going to. If nobody else has heard it, I don't want to be the one to drop that rumor.
Well, so to beep the truck back up here, talking about the, college prospects, kids wanting to go play in the NFL.
Yes.
And we're gearing it specifically to football, and there's obviously other NIL options when it comes to if you're a female softball player, volleyball player, stuff like that. It's every part of the school now.
There's millions of dollars to be made in NIL money.
Well, specifically to football, the SEC spends the most overall on the NIL money, and you've got Texas A&M, LSU, Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia. They're all north of $40 million as a program spending on their players. So your top players are making a few million. Some of your second stringers are making, tens of thousands of dollars.
But Sam, I'm going to stop you right there, Sam. What about the Jim Crow laws?
Right.
I mean, come on.
You can now, and I've seen it, one of the Tennessee basketball players had this deal with Powell's Sudden Service at Burger Joint we've talked about before that everyone needs to visit if they're out in East Tennessee. you can get local deals. So you can be affiliated with the school, and then a local business can come forward and say, hey, we'll pay you extra money to do this commercial or whatever.
Let's see some of these kids make, the kind of change that they would be making playing for the SEC with the NIL money. They do still do scholarships, right? By the way, that is still a thing too?
Yeah, so you're getting your tuition paid for.
Right.
Or you're making enough NIL money to pay your own tuition and take it. Like,
those damn Jim Crow laws of the South.
Nico Alamalea, quarterback at Tennessee that transferred to UCLA, was making like $2 million a season.
Yeah.
And he was able to take care of his whole family living in Knoxville.
Well, this is what Hakeem Jeffries says. Golf clap.
We will continue to stand with the NAACP in encouraging athletes in our community to look elsewhere until these racially gerrymandered maps in the South are reversed, buried in the ground, never to rise again.
Yes.
I did something about the golf clap. I find it very funny. But do you know what I love about this?
That he's Justin Pearson without the afro?
I love that he says that the athletes, and I'm air quoting this, in our community, that's what he said. Do you know how much Hakeem Jeffries is worth? Somewhere between $2 and $5 million. Do you know how much the average member of Congress is worth? $9.1 million. So some kid who is playing on a team in, I don't know, Compton, California, Watts, California, so one of these communities in some state somewhere, and they want to go to the SEC because they've got a full ride scholarship to University of Tennessee or LSU or Texas A&M or whatever, and the parents maybe make $40,000 or $50,000 a year, and this is their opportunity to get out of the slums of Los Angeles. Hakeem Jeffries is not in that person's community. All of these jackholes from the Congressional Black Caucus, they're not in the community of this young man who has been working his entire life to get out of the slums of Los Angeles via sports. And by the way, and nobody's going to do this, let's be honest, nobody's going to do this. But if they did, can you imagine if you had all of these people, black athletes, actually boycott the South? Then you're going to have all of these black athletes going to schools outside of the SEC, which means that ultimately you have a lot more athletes for fewer available spots, which means that some of these athletes won't even get to play on a team. They won't even get the NIL money or a scholarship. So it is clear the NAACP and Hakeem Flippin' Jeffries and the Congressional Black Caucus, they don't have the best interests of young black athletes in mind. They only care about politics. So I would say, tell me, Hakeem, how is a kid living in Antioch or Nashville or Los Angeles or San Francisco or Watts or Compton or any other place across America where they want to make a better life for themselves? You only got one parent, maybe working 3 jobs to make ends meet, part of your community, when you folks make upwards of or are worth $9 million. How is that part of your community? It's not. This is clearly wrong-headed groupthink by the Democrats, and I believe that it is actually insulting. It is insulting for the NAACP and Hakeem Jeffries and the Congressional Black Caucus. It is insulting to young black American athletes that they would even be asked to do this. And to what end, by the way? So a player decides to go to Stanford instead of UT, and that hurts the University of Tennessee. And so then what are they supposed to do exactly? Pressure lawmakers to defy the Supreme Court? Is that what they're supposed to do? See, none of this really makes any sense to me whatsoever. Because really, ultimately, this is like political grandstanding. A lot of folks are saying, and I agree, this is like trying to resegregate the South all over again. Is it not? Why would any kid decide to abandon his dream because the Democrats are upset that they're losing politically. And by the way, here's the other thing that I would say. Was there any Republican when Virginia tried to gerrymander before the Supreme Court knocked it down, but was there any Republican who said, okay, athletes in the South, don't go to the University of Virginia, don't go to California with all of their gerrymandering, don't go to USC, don't go to UCLA, don't go to Stanford? Did any Republican do that? No. This absurd thinking is clearly the Democrats living up to their name. By the way, I like what Scott Jennings had to say about all this.
With respect to the SCORE Act, our position has been clear. If LSU is for it, we're against it.
Listen to all this.
If the University of Alabama is for it, we're against it. If Ole Miss is for it, we're against it. If the University of South Carolina is for it, we're against it. If the University of Tennessee is for it, we're against it. And if the SEC schools are for it, we are against it. And we will continue to stand against it because we're standing on the side of liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so we're standing against people like Logan Diggs, who was raised by a single mother, had him when she was 16 years old. Okay, he's a veteran player on the LSU's football team. He's been there for several years, and because they have a revenue share, players get. It's not just NIL. Everyone gets some kind of check. You know, especially now that they sold the game rights back to EA Sports.
Right.
He's making somewhere in the low six figures to be a non-starter on a college football team while getting an education and being able to take care of his mom, who worked 3 jobs while he was in high school.
That's exactly what I'm saying. That is exactly what I am saying. This is what the Democrats are wanting these players to abandon because, again, they're losing politically and they're wrapping in the SCORE Act. And the SCORE Act is a controversial thing going on in sports right now where you've got the colleges and the what do they call it? The
NIL.
And well, the NIL. They're looking at changing that and streamlining the rules for all of the colleges across all of the different states.
Specific to like the transfer portal. They want they don't want it to be this, oh, I'm not making as much money at this school, I'm going to cycle out. There actually is a commitment to the university if you're getting paid.
Yeah, it's NIL has led to a lot of chaos because states have different rules. And so they want to streamline the rules, I guess, all across the – what's that?
And income tax and stuff.
That's another great point. So, yeah, they want to streamline it. And so you got a lot of people saying, well, this is against the players. And you got other people that are saying, oh, this is something that really is just going to help the colleges, whatever. But the bottom line is that for the Democrats, they are really trying to hamstring the players on this. And, you know, Scott Jennings started talking about the absurdity of Hakeem Jeffries and this stance.
I'm angry about politics. Therefore, you have to give up your dream of going to a Tennessee or a Florida or a Louisiana, an LSU. You have to give up your dream because I'm mad about politics. It is amazing to me that Hakeem Jeffries always finds his way into the most bizarre, ridiculous political position. What he is calling for and what the NAACP is calling for is, in essence, to resegregate the South and to resegregate universities in the South. Folks, it is the year of our Lord, 2026. I don't think reinstalling segregation in the South because Hakeem Jeffries is mad that he didn't get his way on Democratic redistricting is really something we need to be talking about.
Yeah.
But this is the modern Democratic Party, and this is what they've always done. They will take advantage of African-American voters. They will promise them things. But at the end of the day, African-American voters gain nothing by voting in a monolith for the Democratic Party. All they ever do is take advantage of them, and in this case, take advantage of these young athletes.
I mean, listen. He speaks the truth. How many times have people who live in, I mean, welcome to dealing with politicians by and large anyway, but what's the age-old story? People in these challenged communities, like in Detroit, Michigan, like a St. Louis, Missouri, you pick the city that is run by Democrats and is mostly minority, where the politicians come in and it's every 2 years, every 4 years. This is what we're going to do for you. This is what we're going to do for you. This is what we're going to do for you. They don't do anything. How many generations have cities like Detroit just been, or Baltimore, Joan? We talked about Baltimore. We talk about Baltimore a lot, where these cities are really challenged. Politicians come in and say, we're going to fix it, we're going to fix it, we're going to fix it, and they never do. That's what Scott Jennings is saying. So now, not only are they coming in and they're saying, we're going to fix it, we're going to fix it, we're going to fix it, and they never do, kind of like what we've seen in Memphis, by the way. But now, when young black athletes want to or have the ability to escape this kind of a situation, now the Democrats are saying, we don't even want you to do that because we're losing in politics. It is reprehensible and almost just comical in a way. Like, I would love to know, is there one young black athlete within the sound of my voice, 100,000 watts of FM, radio power, not to mention internet and all that kind of, is there one black athlete out there that would say, you know what? He's right. I'm not going to go to LSU. I'm not going to go to UT. I'm not going to go to I'm not going to be a Bulldog or Alabama Roll Tide. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm going to hope for the best on a West Coast school or whatever. You know what I mean?
Which, by the way, it just is, it spits in the face of the history. A lot of those schools, a lot of their programs, a lot of their athletes, across all sports, were black athletes that made a name for themselves.
Yep.
And it wasn't just that they were using their talent. They also used their work ethic. They became a foundational piece. I mean, for me, I can't think of Alabama and not associate it with Derrick Henry. I can't. He was the most dominant running back coming out of that school.
What I would love to hear? I would love to hear, and then we got to go to a break. I would love to hear what a Derrick Henry, Derrick Henry would never speak out on this, but I would love to know what black athletes from Southern schools who made a name for themselves, I would love to know what their opinion on this is. Because they've got to have an opinion. And I bet you privately, they're just saying, yeah, this is not the way to go. Hakeem, NAACP, clearly, and Democrats, this is not the way to go. Very selfish with Hakeem Jeffries and the NAACP, and, of course, the Congressional Black Caucus as well. It is 5:28, time to go. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning, 5:32 now. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. A gloomy start to our Thursday. We'll have clouds, more rain this afternoon at a high of 76. Looks like rain showers will mark the entire Memorial Day holiday weekend as well. Nashville still celebrating after the NFL revealed the 2030 Super Bowl is coming to Music City. Thousands of people gathering on Lower Broadway last night for a celebration that included country stars like Tim McGraw, Tennessee Titans legends, and politicians, too, like Governor Bill Lee.
We do have magic in this city, and it has been happening for a long time. When something good happens in some part of Tennessee, every Tennessean benefits from that. We're a city that the whole world knows about.
Yeah, the event ended with a drone and fireworks show last night. Millions of Americans heading out today for the Memorial Day weekend, but there is news today that a giant sinkhole has opened up on a runway at LaGuardia Airport, and it's affecting air travel around the country. Here's Will Reeve with ABC News.
More than 200 flights canceled, hundreds more delayed, shutting down one of LaGuardia's 2 runways for hours.
Ground, what happened to the runway 422?
There's a sinkhole.
Airport officials say they found the sinkhole at 11 a.m. during routine airfield inspection and immediately closed the runway for emergency repairs.
And in Philadelphia, fire officials there battling a fire at a scrapyard operated by Amtrak. That has caused cancellations on the rail line, too. That's the latest news. Stick around for your traffic. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. All right, got to watch it now on 24 West in Pleasant View. There's a crash reported just past Springfield, Ashland City, exit number 24. Also in Antioch on Murfreesboro Pike, south of Nashville Boulevard. That's the crash scene as well. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I guess I'll talk now. 539, Super Talk 99.7, WTN. I was reading 2377's text. Joan, you'll love this.
Okay.
Because 2377 has very well made the argument that I am indeed a Democrat.
Uh-oh, you are not.
He says, Dan says he never takes off, yet he's been off several days in the last week. Thereby, I'm a liar. Didn't know what a woman is when I said that about you, and is severely confused this morning. I agree, he is a Democrat. Now, if you missed the insanity that was the first few minutes of the program, we can just go back and listen to it. But I can promise you, 2377, I am not a Democrat. I would never claim that I'm not dumb, but I'm just not a Democrat. I'm a little confused, though. Yeah. Thank you. Was that this morning? Did I say that this morning?
Yeah.
Whatever.
It's like the first thing you said after you announced the time.
Was it really?
Yeah.
What was I? I see. I don't even know what I do anymore.
It's 5:06 on Nashville's Morning News. Welcome into your Wednesday or Thursday, May 21st.
Oh,
and
did
then
I?
you launched into saying you were confused.
All right, very good.
Sharon!
Do you know what the thing is, though? I was confused only because it's been so long since I heard the voice of one Joan Jones. So, Joan, real quick, because I want to talk about the saga of your luggage.
Oh, my gosh.
Listen to this, Sam. Joan has had the absolute worst couple of days related to your luggage.
But the baby's lovely, so it kind of,
She was going to see the baby in Maryland born and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
and lovely baby, very small, very cute.
So we get on the plane on Wednesday. Now I booked this flight at the last minute because my daughter called and said, "Hey, we're headed to the hospital." So I booked the flight. We get on, I got the cheapest flight, so there was a stop. So we had to stop in, I don't know, South Carolina somewhere, and then head up to Baltimore. We get to Baltimore, no luggage. No luggage.
It's Southwest.
Southwest Airlines left our luggage in Nashville. So now we have to wait. So we go straight to the hospital. We're waiting. We wait all night long in uncomfortable chairs in a waiting room, unfit for anybody. And instead of allowing us to schedule when the luggage gets delivered to my daughter's house, I got an email, a text message from Southwest that says, "Hey, your luggage is on the way." And it's raining. So
yeah.
I didn't want it to be stuck outside. So we left the hospital to go back to her house to get our luggage. And of course, we missed the birth. So
you missed the birth.
We missed the birth because of Southwest Airlines. So, and by the way, Southwest has absolutely no compensation. Their compensation is, hey, we're driving it to the house for you.
What more do you want, Joan?
I know, right? So the luggage is now, she's got a small townhome. The luggage is on the floor so that I can sort of live out of my luggage for the foreseeable future for a week. And they have a cat. The cat has a litter box that's sort of inside of an area where she's got to go through a door to get to it.
Mm-hmm.
But this has happened before. She locks the door when she rubs against it. So she locked herself out of the area where the cat box is. Guess whose luggage she decided to go into as her cat box?
I would be willing to bet with your luggage luck,
Yes.
your luggage got
My luggage
cat-peed.
became, and poop. It just wasn't
And
limited.
pooped.
Yeah, I got the
Wow.
whole 9 yards.
No,
Yeah.
now, okay, hold on, Joan. Sam, what do you think Joan did with the clothing and the luggage? A, did she take it home and wash it? Or B, did she throw it away? And C, what would you do with said clothing?
I'm going to say she washed it.
Joan, what'd you do?
So I washed the clothes that were on the other side. So, you know, she went in one side.
Right.
And the luggage. So I washed the clothes that were on the other side. Everything else I got rid of.
Right. So she kind of sort of did both,
Yeah.
I guess. All right. Very good.
That piece
What
of
are they
luggage
feeding that
is
cat?
Well, I mean, it had to go to the bathroom. I mean, it just does.
Hey, by the way, I made my television debut yesterday.
This is why you're on television. This is why you're on radio, actually.
I was, I made my first ever appearance and probably my last ever appearance on Newsmax yesterday. They reached out to me and they knew at Newsmax because they deal with the truth in Newsmax. So when they needed someone to comment on the Super Bowl being in Nashville and somebody who knows all about football and the new Titan Stadium and all of that stuff, they turned to yours truly for some insightful commentary on the Super Bowl.
So what'd you tell them?
I told them that I thought that Taylor Swift would be the halftime show, which brought down the house. And they asked how was, and by the way, they were not looking for football commentary. They wanted to know, like, you know, how does Nashville feel about the Super Bowl coming to, Middle Tennessee? So I did not do that. No, I said we're very excited. And I talked about in 2019 when we had the NFL draft and we had 600,000 people singing Don't Stop Believin' in the streets of Nashville and how we do all kinds of big events and we can't wait. Then they talked about the halftime show and the two other gentlemen on the three-person panel. I was one of three. They thought that Carrie Underwood would be the halftime show. I said, no, I believe that it'll be Taylor Swift.
I like the Carrie Underwood angle. That's good.
Oh, I love it
tell
too.
you what it's gonna be.
I said I would love if it's Carrie Underwood, but I think it'll probably be Taylor Swift.
No. It will be a bunch of country artists.
Well, of course.
You know what?
I mean, but
That
there's
would be
always
really
going to be there's always going to be an anchor, right?
Yeah.
Well, and if it's Taylor Swift, there will be riots. There will be boycotts. People are tired of Taylor Swift being associated with the NFL. All right, you've been dating one of the best tight ends, engaged to one of the best tight ends now. Leave us alone. We're tired of seeing your face.
You say, okay, Sam, you sound like a get off my lawn guy.
Yeah.
I love you, but
Get off my lawn, Miss Madam Billionaire. Go back to your penthouse.
All right.
This is my sport.
Bitter much?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Meet me in the A-Gap, Oklahoma drill. Let's go.
Okay, so they had, who was it that did it last year for the Super Bowl? Who was that guy?
Bad Bunny.
Bad Bunny. So the NFL is all about expanding the base and marketing, is it not? So who better than Taylor Swift to pull in a whole bunch of younger girls?
That stadium will crumble under the sheer weight of the incessant screams coming from the amount of high-pitched voices. It's not built for that infrastructure, Dan.
You're being ridiculous. I think it's going to be... You know what? You want to do a bet right now? At 5:47 on May 21st, you want to do a bet right now?
Sure.
All right. I say, you went in on this, Joan? I say it's going to be Taylor Swift. I don't want it to be Taylor Swift. I don't like Taylor Swift, but I think that it'll be Taylor Swift.
You're trying to will this into existence for the sole purpose of winning the bet now, but whatever.
Yeah. Because I'm so powerful.
So what do you...
Although I was on Newsmax.
I think those are two viable candidates. But what about Jelly Roll? Like, the media loves Jelly Roll now.
And the media loves him, and the people do not.
Ella Langley, I think that Jelly Roll, Ella Langley, I think it'll be Taylor Swift, but I think that it'll be, as you said, Sam, I think it'll be a number of people like they always do.
I think if it's anchored by anyone, it'll be anchored by, like, Luke Bryan or Blake Shelton. It'll be anchored by a long-time star.
Keith Urban? You got Keith Urban, too?
Keith Urban.
Yeah.
He's not doing too hot because
Did you
he's
tell him, Dan,
divorcing.
how it would be really cool if the Titans were, like, in the Super Bowl that year?
Yeah, no, that was my point when we talked about it with Jay.
Do you know what I wanted?
I'm only going to care if we are playing in the game.
Yeah.
Do you know what I wanted?
In 4 years, it's very possible.
So I'm on Newsmax. I had one thing that I wanted to accomplish and I didn't get to. But I wanted to throw down the line. Well, there's a lot happening with the Super Bowl. We can't wait. There's a lot of unknowns right now, but the one thing we do know is that the Titans won't be in it. And I didn't get it. I didn't get the opportunity to put that line in there.
I'm going to mic down for the rest of this segment. Is what
Whatever.
we're going to do.
Anyway, but I thought that my Newsmax debut was actually very good. I didn't shank anything, believe it or not. And I got in my other line that I really wanted to get in. Do you know what the line I wanted to get in was? We love when people come to Nashville, spend their money, and then leave the next day.
Yeah.
But you know what they did? Like, they just kind of ignored that and just wrapped up the segment.
Oh.
Well, you know what? I was out on stage, and the music started playing, and the cane was coming out to pull me off stage.
That's a great point. We should put that on a billboard. Come to Nashville.
Welcome to Tennessee. Now go home.
Yes. You get your 24 hours. I saw a clip from Broadway the other night. This poor soul man. He was so hammered he could not use his phone. Like, I'm tired of seeing stuff like that.
And by the way, who would I like to get?
Morgan Wallen.
Yes, Morgan Wallen.
He says while wearing a "Thank you."
I'm wearing my "Thank you" T-shirt today. So if you're wondering what,
and it'd be cool because he's from outside of Knoxville.
He's from outside of Knoxville.
Yeah, so
he's from outside of Knoxville, but he essentially moved to Knoxville.
If he performs in any capacity, we've got to have a chair throwing.
Do you know what? Instead of trying to throw the football through the hoop thing that they do sometimes, see who can throw the chair the farthest. It can be the Morgan Wallen contest. Right?
I mean, yeah. They make aluminum chairs pretty light these days. You can catch it.
By the way, apparently there is some controversy. Joan, you're the only one whose hands are clean on this because you weren't here yesterday.
Oh, cool.
So yesterday we had Charlie Hatcher in here, and he is a dairy farmer, and he's running for the 5th primary against Andy Ogles. Well, he's a dairy farmer, and he brought in some chocolate milk.
It was so good.
Oh,
No, hold on. There's controversy. So he brought in one for me and one for Murphy. So I tried mine on the air. It was unbelievably good. So he said I brought one in for Matt. Well, Matt, for some bizarre reason, doesn't drink milk.
What?
Apparently Matt says that milk is for baby cows. And I'm a little confused. Don't cows, they're the ones that actually produce the milk. I don't know if baby cows actually drink milk, but whatever. So he doesn't drink milk. And I got like 75,000 people on the super text line telling me that, well, Murphy doesn't drink milk. So I'm like, all right, well, then,
kind of an American, is he?
Well, I know, but so the bottom line is I gave Murphy's milk to Sam.
Don't say it like that.
And so apparently Matt was looking for his milk yesterday. Because I think, and I didn't hear it, but people are hitting me up on the super text line. I think that Murphy wanted to give it to Jackson. Because Jackson would love that creamy, incredible chocolate milk of Charlie Hatcher. And so...
No regrets!
So I don't know if I owe young Jackson some chocolate milk.
No.
I'll buy him some chocolate milk.
Yeah, but...
He's a good egg.
It's
I don't mind giving him some chocolate
from
milk.
The farm chocolate milk.
Yeah.
Did it taste different? Like, was it really?
Oh my God, yes.
Was it different?
Oh yeah,
really?
it's
whole fat.
It's incredibly creamy.
Oh.
Yeah, I've never tasted any chocolate milk like it before.
I had to torture Mason with it.
Yeah.
'Cause, Mason's, for those who don't, I'm not trying to spread, but Mason and dairy, they don't mix well sometimes. So Mason was like, "Describe it to me, Sam."
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, it's rich, it's creamy, and fatty. Absolutely delicious.
Only you could make chocolate milk sound creepy.
Yeah.
Right, Joan? Back me up on this.
My goodness.
Anyway, so...
Mr. Hatcher, I'm willing to voice that for any kind of commercials, by the way.
I'm absolutely positive he will not do that. Anyway, whatever. So, yeah, and by the way, people are also saying Dolly Parton would be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, clearly Dolly Parton would be outstanding. Let's see here.
She would definitely have to do at least a song out there with whoever is performing.
Yep. That would be great. Can I just say, people who say that Morgan Wallen is not country, you people need to just stop it.
I mean, they have a point.
And here's the thing.
They have a
no,
point.
they don't have a point.
They have a point.
Here's the great thing. I don't care.
That's
if
like
he's
me trying to
country
tell
or
you
not.
what a taco is. You're from the area where they make the greatest tacos in the country.
California?
Los Angeles. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Do you know who had the best tacos in Los Angeles? Del Taco, which is a slightly higher version of Taco Bell.
Wow. Okay.
I don't care. I don't do tacos with all of this cilantro and all that stuff. Yeah. That stuff is nasty. Whatever. All right.
But
by the way, Kid Rock. Okay, $48.99. Yep. You can stop texting. He's 15 times. I know, Kid Rock. There's no way that's going to happen. I would love. Okay, you know who I would love?
They could Black Hawk him into the stadium.
Oh, that would be hysterical.
Oh my gosh! Can you imagine that?
The meltdown would be glorious.
Oh my gosh!
I would like a mix of Morgan Wallen, Kid Rock, Jelly Roll. I don't owe Matt and his milk an apology. And those would be my big three. You throw in Carrie Underwood. All right, fine. So that would be my big four. I would be willing to bet good money that it is going to be Taylor Swift. You want in on this bet, Joan? If not, that's fine.
So can I bet somebody else?
Of course.
I think Dolly has to be, she has to be. She is Nashville.
Okay, so you say Dolly Parton. All right.
Yeah.
All right, and Sam?
Yeah, I'm going to have to go Blake Shelton.
You're going to go Blake Shelton?
I mean, anchor on The Voice, right? So he's got kind of the national celebrity status to a degree as well. It's just not overplayed.
Right.
The point about Dolly Joan, she hasn't been in good health. Who knows where she'll be in 4 years?
Yeah,
so,
okay. Yeah.
Wow, you just went down the Dolly's going to be gone
I'm trying to be practical.
Route?
No, not gone, but you're talking about performing at the Super Bowl on a stage. It requires a lot of energy. And the only person I've ever seen throw it down like that and in their old age is Mick Jagger.
Do you know what? You're right. We don't know how Dolly's going to be feeling. Any Dolly is good Dolly. That's number one.
Correct. Yes.
Number two, can you imagine? I don't know how old she'll be in 4 years, but can you imagine Dolly Parton either coming out or even if she's in a wheelchair, whatever, the nation would melt in love and adoration for Dolly Parton.
Yeah, for one, especially if it's just a song or two, that makes it even more special.
That's exactly right. All right, we got to go. What about Reba McEntire, Garth Brooks, George Strait? I mean...
And Garth Brooks can't kick rocks.
So not only does Dan steal bits from Matt, he also steals his chocolate milk.
No, you can put it down that Dan simply handed it over because he wasn't walking out of that studio with it. Let me tell you that much.
Anyway, whatever. Got to go. 5:56 WTN. Joan's got the news at 6. Joan.
Yes, so the Super Bowl is coming to Nashville. What is the security plan? Also, Ebola back in the news. We've got the latest from Central Africa. It's coming up at 6 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning, 6 o'clock. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. And with the Super Bowl coming to Nashville in 2030, security plans are now underway to keep the city and football fans safe. Here's Nashville Police Chief John Drake speaking to WSMV4.
We do a lot to keep events safe. We've had some major cities, a lot bigger than Nashville, come here to see what we do. So we're already planning. We're putting committees together with the police department. We'll start working with Fire OEM and our federal partners, and then we'll just keep building from there. It starts today.
The event's expected to bring in hundreds of thousands of visitors and hundreds of millions of dollars for the local economy. A special education bus driver busted for DUI yesterday after crashing into a parked car in Nashville. Channel 4's Danielle Ledbetter says that crash occurred yesterday afternoon at the intersection of Alterrace Drive and Sunnywood Drive.
That bus was heading to Shane Elementary to pick up children and then take them home. No students were on board at the time, but the driver, 75-year-old Mandubiri Noki, was placed on administrative leave while the district investigates.
The driver had been with Metro Nashville schools for 3 years. A positive update on that American doctor who contracted Ebola while doing missionary work in Central Africa. We're told that Dr. Peter Stafford is starting to feel better and can now eat. His colleague, Matt Allison, telling ABC News the doctor's been receiving monoclonal antibodies. He's in the hospital in Germany.
Peter's a general surgeon. Rebecca's an OBGYN. And they really feel this sense of calling to train up Congolese surgeons and Congolese OBs. They work in a province of 4.5 million people. And with Peter gone from his hospital, there are no more surgeons in this hospital on the ground today.
Now stick around. Dr. Manny Sethi is joining Dan at 6:36 on the Ebola outbreak and whether people here in the U.S. are at risk. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
Demand for the semiconductors that power artificial intelligence is only growing stronger. NVIDIA smashed Wall Street's expectations, earning just over $58 billion in the latest quarter, nearly 3 times the number of a year ago. That earnings report helped to pull the tech-intensive Nasdaq Composite and the broader S&P higher Wednesday. The Standard & Poor's added 1%, the Nasdaq 1.5%. The Dow Jones soared 645 points to close back above 50,000. AI may be a path to a new job at one of the biggest banks in the world. J.P. Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon tells Bloomberg the bank will likely be hiring more AI specialists and fewer traditional bankers in the future. On the cusp of Memorial Day weekend, many Americans are making their escape today. Even in the face of sky-high gas prices, a record-breaking 45 million are expected to travel more than 50 miles for the holiday, over 39 million by car. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
And stock futures have turned negative after a disappointing quarterly report from Walmart. Dow futures right now down 174, NASDAQ futures losing 166. The S&P futures are down 32. That's the latest news, traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Okay, so we have that crash reported on 24 westbound in Pleasant View, still there at the Springfield-Ashland City exit. Also Talbot's Corner on 65 southbound side, right at the downtown exit 86. The two right lanes are blocked off by a crash. Got another one on 65 northbound side at the ramp for southbound I-65. You've got a crash at the off-ramp. The left lane is blocked there. And just keep in mind that it's a little wet on the roads this morning, may cause some extra slowdowns. Traffic every 10 minutes. Every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.608 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends. Hope you are doing well and welcome on in. It is Thursday, Getaway Thursday, and coming up on second half of this hour, 6:36, Dr. Manny Sethi is going to be joining us. Going to be talking about Ebola. Now, he just sort of laid our fears on the whole hantavirus thing that was going on. It still is going on, I guess, but now Ebola is in the news. Joan, when you were flying out to Baltimore and Maryland and all that, were you afraid that, Ebola was going to somehow be, infecting you in the airport? Not even in the least.
No. It's so funny, though, when you visit different areas of the country. In this area, people are, I think, unafraid and kind of bold. But up there in the metro Washington, D.C. area and Baltimore area, so many people still wear their masks. And people in their cars by themselves.
Still wearing masks?
It is crazy, Dan.
People are nuts.
They are. So many people on the plane. It's amazing how many people are so afraid in the Northeast.
Do you know, I want to make sure that I frame this the right way. But when I see somebody wearing masks in a car, I don't know if I feel anger, pity. I'm dumbfounded by their dumbness. Do you know what I mean? Now, there are people that are out there that for whatever reason, they have to wear a mask. Maybe it's they're immunocompromised for whatever reason. If they're still just wearing masks because they got the living crap scared out of them by the media during COVID and all that, Fauci and all that kind of stuff, I feel bad for them. I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. But we do live in a free country, and if this is what they want to do now with Ebola, I mean, Joan, because you and I are of a certain age, we've been hearing about Ebola since at least the 70s. I remember growing up and hearing about Ebola.
Yeah.
So
very frightening to hear it when it's out of context like that. Not understanding how it's transmitted, not understanding that it's really not something that happens here in the United States and it can't travel here like COVID did.
Yeah.
So
well, we're going to get all the latest from Dr. Manny Sethi. That's going to be at 6:36 here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. A couple of headlines regarding Iran. Apparently, one of the headlines, and I'm just going to go through headlines here. Iran is already rebuilding their military-industrial base. Now, is anybody surprised by that? Why would anybody be surprised that Iran is already rebuilding their military-industrial base? What were they supposed to do? Not rebuild? I mean, in my opinion, that is more reason why we need to start bombing the living crap out of them again. So that is number one. Number two, there's a couple of headlines. The other thing that is going on is, and again, this is a headline from the Daily Mail. This is how they're framing it. Trump's war disaster. 42 U.S. aircraft lost or damaged as friendly fire wipes out $300 million worth of fighter jets. So that is also making the headlines this morning. Were we not supposed to have any losses, equipment losses in a war like this? Of course, these things are going to happen. That's why they do say that war is hell. Maybe I'm just numb to the news, but I fully expect equipment to be damaged. Again, that's called war. Now, 3 planes damaged by friendly fire, they're going to have to figure out exactly what happened. But bottom line is that this is what happens in war. And, okay, so we've got 42 aircraft lost or damaged. Would you like to compare what has gone on with Iran and how their entire Air Force and their Navy, the Air Force was destroyed, the Navy down at the bottom of the sea? I mean, if you want to compare losses, we most certainly can. But anyway, so those are 2 of the biggest headlines that are out there this morning regarding Iran. This is what President Trump said yesterday.
A couple of days, so I can save people being killed by waiting a couple of days. I think it's a great thing to do.
Yeah, President Trump saying that he's going to wait. He has no problem waiting a couple of days. And this is where this is where I drive people nuts, because I'm going to talk out of both sides of my mouth, where I want us to just crap or get off the pot. I want to get going on this. President Trump is actually being responsible, where he's like, you know what? I don't want to kill a bunch of people. So if we can just hold off for a couple of days, and that'll save the lives of a bunch of people, then that's what I'm going to do. I'm not in, and this was part of the storyline yesterday, the president saying, I'm not in a huge hurry.
I never get tired. But what I like to do, if I can save war by waiting a couple of days, or I can save people being killed by waiting a couple of days, I think it's a great thing to do.
All right, so that is, and listen, I can't argue with that. I can't. I mean, it is my position, though, that the longer that this goes, yes, Iran is rebuilding their military, which is their certain right to do as a nation, and it is our right to stop it as we are in war. But I do believe that the more aggressive we become, the quicker this thing will come to an end. And for me, that is the bottom line. And I do want to see this war come to an end. I want it to come to an end very quickly. Stephen Miller was on with Jesse Waters last night. He had some very pertinent things to say about Iran and about how we are working on a deal. That is also part of the news cycle this morning, is that Donald Trump saying that we are close to a deal. Now, stop me when you've heard that before. It is 6:15. Time to check the roads on WTN. Okay. Would you like to play the time to check the roads on WTN? As far as your weather goes, it is going to be cloudy skies this morning, rain this afternoon. And by the way, Joan, correct me if I'm wrong, are we looking at rain throughout the Memorial Day weekend?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's what Stefano was saying this morning. It'll be off and on all weekend long. Nothing severe, essentially. But yeah, it's not going to be that sunny, bright, go outside and grill the hot dogs kind of Memorial Day weekend.
All right. Well, listen.
We don't care.
We are in a drought.
Yes. And
We're in a drought.
Yeah.
So we need the rain.
Yeah.
There you go. Stephen Miller. Of course, everybody likes Stephen Miller. Well, most people like Stephen Miller. I really like Stephen Miller. He was on talking about the situation with Iran. This was last night during Jesse Waters.
He's made it very clear. It's what they call a binary choice to the remainders, those who are left, those who have taken the place of the regime that was decapitated and the regime that was replaced. This new team in Iran has a choice to make. They can either agree to a piece of paper that is satisfactory to the United States, or they can face a punishment from our military, the likes of which has not been seen in modern history. That's the choice that they face.
All right, so that is Stephen Miller. Iran, by the way, of course, as always, seems unimpressed. They say that not only are they ready for any American attack, but they'll also attack nations outside of the Middle East if this latest threat to attack them happens. And apparently the latest proposal, because, again, it's like Groundhog Day around here, our president saying that we're close to a deal. The latest proposal that Iran has submitted has terms that we have already rejected. They still demand that they control the Strait of Hormuz, which is like no effing way. They want compensation for war damage. That's also going to be a no. They want sanctions lifted. I suppose that's a negotiation point. They want the release of frozen assets as well, and they want our troops withdrawn from the area. So it does seem to me that we're a long way off.
And it's very important to remember, as we sit here tonight, that Iran has already paid, its regime has already paid the steepest of prices in the form of a crushing and complete military defeat for its pursuit of a nuclear weapon. In other words, President Trump has enforced the non-proliferation principle of the United States with raw American might, sending a message not only to the Iranian regime, sending a message not only to the IRGC, but to the whole world, to anyone who would think of doing the same. We have killed and eliminated the evil, wicked, corrupt leadership of that country. The Air Force has been annihilated. The Navy has been annihilated. Its missile program has been annihilated. Its defense industrial base has been annihilated.
All right, so Strait of Hormuz is still closed. And I think that's where a lot of us are confused, where it's like, okay, so we've annihilated all this stuff, yet the Strait of Hormuz is still closed. And we've got the mightiest military literally in the world, and the Strait of Hormuz is still closed. By the way, some ships have been getting through slowly but surely, including a couple of Chinese oil tankers, a South Korean tanker as well. India is also going to be sending empty tankers into the strait to pick up some of that oil that has just been sitting there. Iran, apparently these individual nations have been working with Iran. Whether that means that they're paying the money to get through the Strait of Hormuz, don't know. But the bottom line is there have been some tankers that have been getting through. The question is this. These nations right now, they are doing it on Iran's terms, meaning, again, paying those tolls to get through. We have said that is unacceptable. So what will our response be to those ships going through the Strait of Hormuz? Here's one more soundbite.
So this is a country that has been weakened, emasculated, and has been completely deprived of its ability to wage global international war. It is the smallest power it has ever been. And now with this embargo, President Trump has demonstrated at any point in time, if Iran tries to interfere with global commerce, America can shut Iran down. So we have all the cards, we have all the power, we have all the decision-making space, so it's up to Iran. But at any point in time, at any point in the future, if Iran decides to do something foolish to threaten America or the world, our military's at the ready to deal with that, Jesse. He's made it very...
So what I love, this is part of the news cycle this morning, is that apparently late last night, Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu got into it. Apparently Benjamin Netanyahu is really pressuring Donald Trump to push ahead with renewed military strikes to break the stalemate. And Trump is like, dude, chill the heck out. We got nothing but time. And Donald Trump has said, I'm in no hurry. They say the call was lengthy and dramatic. Israel's Channel 12 reporting Netanyahu increasingly doubts further negotiations with Tehran will yield a peace deal and wants to resume military strikes, the Israeli outlet reported. Trump, meanwhile, wants to push harder for an agreement in which Iran abandons its nuclear weapons program before any return to war. See, here's my thing. I actually agree with Benjamin Netanyahu. However, I like that Trump is like, dude, stand down and take a step back. I'm dealing with this, and we're going to do this my way. So, again, I agree with Netanyahu, but at the same time, I support Trump in doing it his way. Did we do a Daily Dan poll yesterday on What did
Yeah.
we do? We did do a daily Dan poll yesterday on the strikes.
Yeah, should Trump just hurry up with it, yes or no? And it was like, at the end, like 90% of people were like, yes, he should just hurry up with it.
90% of the people were like, yeah, the more aggressive that we get, the quicker this thing ends. Because I do believe that we do have Iran on the run. I mean, we do. They've still got the Strait of Hormuz closed, and I'm so frustrated that with all of our military might, we are unable to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. And so now, by the way, NATO is considering a mission. NATO is considering a mission to unblock the Strait of Hormuz. They want it done by July. NATO, they're thinking of sending in some warships to get this opened back up, at least according to the Daily Telegraph and others. Remember that NATO is the U.S., Canada, the U.K., France, Germany, whole bunch of other European nations as well. And it's an alliance against aggression. And Donald Trump has been asking for help all this time. So, hey, NATO, come along. We've been asking for your help. It is, one of the other things I would say is, well, if NATO is considering doing that, and by the way, we're a big part of NATO, it's a good thing that Donald Trump actually forced the other NATO nations to contribute what they're supposed to be contributing, which is 2% of their national GDP, because a lot of these nations weren't. So Donald Trump, exactly for this reason, has been forcing NATO to become stronger, and they'll be more ready to deal with Iran and the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. It is 6:23 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Coming up, all the latest on Ebola with Dr. Manny Sethi. That is coming up at 6:35. Joan Jones has the news at 6:30. Joan.
Yeah, why Nashville is suing one of its biggest grocery store chains. That story at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Dan Mandis here. For my friends at DT McCall's, I can look around my house and I can see a whole bunch of items from DT McCall's. There's my refrigerator down in the basement. There's my dishwasher in my kitchen. There's my washer and dryer in my utility room. Everywhere I look, there's signs of DT McCall's because this is a great place to get furniture and appliances. Now, if you're even thinking about getting a new appliance right now, heading into the summertime, check them out online or in store. They've always got great ways to help you upgrade your dryer and elevate your laundry. Now, right now, they've got massive rebates going on and specials on washers and dryers, not to mention dishwashers at DT McCall's. Great place to save money and get terrific appliances as well. Now, just so you know, I was a customer before I was an endorser. They have as many of their items made right here in Tennessee as possible, and yes, they do support WTN. So, you should give them a shot at your business. DTMcCalls.com, and they've got 5 locations across Middle Tennessee: Carthage, Cookeville, Lebanon, Lafayette, and Franklin. When you stop by, when you log on, be sure and tell them that Dan Mandis told you to reach out. DTMcCalls.com.
Good morning. It's 6:30 now, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. The indictment of 94-year-old Raul Castro is being hailed by the families of some of his alleged victims. Miriam de la Pena is the mother of a pilot who was shot down by Cuban forces while carrying out a humanitarian mission in 1996.
We are a country of laws, and you are innocent until proven guilty, but he needs to prove himself innocent, which is going to be impossible for him because he gave the order.
Yeah, the USS Nimitz, an aircraft carrier strike group, has just arrived in the Caribbean. Happened on the same day as that Castro indictment. The city of Nashville suing Publix. The suit says that Publix had a role in the oversupply and distribution of prescription opioids. Now, the city wants to recover the money and resources it spent responding to the epidemic. In a lawsuit, the city said that Tennessee was in the top 3 for opioid prescriptions in 2016 and saw more than 1,600 overdose deaths that year. And this is how it sounded yesterday at the Pentagon.
I, Johnny Joseph Jones,
do solemnly swear that I will support and defend
the
Constitution of the United States.
That is War Secretary Pete Hegseth swearing in Fox News host Johnny Joey Jones, who re-enlisted to the Marine Corps, saying he had unfinished business. Joey Jones served 8 years in the Marine Corps. He lost both of his legs while deployed in Afghanistan as an explosive ordnance disposal technician. Jones will continue to host weekend shows, though, on Fox News. That is the latest news. We've got traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 632, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Avoid the headaches of a traditional home sale and move on your timeline with the guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. Selling your home can indeed be overwhelming. That is why who you work with matters. My friends at Mark Spain Real Estate, they can help you sell your home hassle-free without the stress of putting your home on the market. Now, Mark Spain Real Estate has been in the business for 30 years, and they know what matters most to their clients: a quick sale and maximum profit. Now, one of their satisfied clients, Chris, had this to say: selling our 16-year-old home, it was quick thanks to that guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. We avoided the stress of showings, constant cleaning, and negotiations. Their guaranteed offer was beyond what we were hoping for. Now, you could be next. Mark Spain Real Estate is the #1 most reviewed real estate company in the U.S. with over 13,000 five-star reviews. Trust them to sell your home fast and for top dollar. Find out what the guaranteed offer would be on your home. There's no obligation. Call 855-299-SOLD or go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today. This is markspain.com and start packing. Dan Mandis here. You know, one of the biggest upgrades you can do to your home is windows, and I've done that in my home courtesy of Window Nation. Now, as the weather gets hotter, realize that you're going to see your AC running constantly and your bills, the extra energy costs, going to go through the roof. That is why you need to check out my friends at Window Nation. You might need new energy-efficient windows from Window Nation. I've got 4. You can get them right now at a great price. Window Nation's Buy 4 Windows, Get 4 Windows free sale, that is going on right now. You could replace all the windows in your home and get half of them for free. By the way, you could also get 0 down payment and no payments or interest for 2 years. That is huge from my friends at Window Nation. They've got an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau, 96% customer satisfaction rating, and over 45,000 five-star reviews, including mine. So don't forget that great deal going on right now. You can get terrific new energy-efficient windows at a great price. Buy 4 windows, get 4 windows free. That sale going on right now. Plus 0 down payment and make no payments or interest for 2 years. Find them online, windownation.com. That's windownation.com.
Okay, so we have a crash in Pleasant View on 24 westbound, still there. It's just past the Springfield Ashland City exit. Got a crash in Talbot's Corner on 65 southbound side, right at the downtown exit 86. The right lane now blocked. And on the north loop, I-65 north at the off-ramp to I-65 loop exit number 86. We've got a crash there in the off-ramp. Left lane is blocked off. Also, Bell Road in Nashville, a crash at Brittany Park Drive. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.635 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I want to welcome on into the program Dr. Mani Sethi. Doctor, always great to have you on. And seems like whenever you and I talk, the reason we're talking is because there's some sort of strange virus or something happening in parts of the world that most of us have never been to. And right now, we're going to talk about the Ebola virus. And so this is in the news, a lot of scary headlines. People are dying of the Ebola virus. Let's talk about, I remember, and I don't know how old you are, but I remember being a kid in the 70s. And the Ebola virus was something that was in the news and very scary. Well, it is back now. Is it just me, or do we do this every year or two?
Yeah, well, good morning, Dan. You're totally right. Every year this is the Ebola virus kind of shows up. It does its thing. I think right now, people are so sensitive to all this because of COVID, and then this hantavirus thing we talked about last week. But every year in Congo, specifically in Africa, the Ebola virus kind of rears its head, and the media goes crazy, and then they scare the crap out of everybody. So here we are talking about this.
How does it start? And okay, I got a two-part question. How does it start? And again, this has been going on for a long time. Why is this so challenging to find a way to prevent this, treat this, whatever?
Well, so the Ebola virus is sort of interesting, right? So as you mentioned, in the 70s, it was started. There was a huge outbreak in like 2014, 2016, like that time. But basically, initially, it was transmitted. It's an RNA virus, and it was transmitted from rodents to other rodents. And how it was transmitted to humans was that I think a monkey bit a human, and then it gets transmitted by just directly from people through touching, through a lot of different ways. But the issue is that it's hard to transmit because you can only give it to somebody when you're sick, when you're like known to be sick, right? And the more kind of vicious viruses are those like COVID that 2 weeks before you got it, you're giving it to everybody because you're viral. So the Ebola virus, right? You have to be very sick to transmit it. And what happens in the Ebola virus, and there are two strains we'll talk, but the more common one was this one called Zaire. And that one, you get sick really kind of within 2 weeks, and you develop like a hemorrhagic fever. And what that means is you basically bleed internally, and you just die from internal bleeding, what's called hemorrhagic fever, because you have a bad fever. So that was the most common type, right? And in 2014, 2016, there was a huge outbreak there. They contained it a couple of years ago. We started hearing about it again. But recently, right, now there's another strain, and it's called the Bundibugyo Ebola virus. So that's a different strain of this, and it's a less vicious strain. All right, so it kind of makes you sick. It looks a lot like typhoid or malaria. You get fevers, you don't feel well, like muscle aches. And so it's not as like lethal as the Zaire version. So that's the version right now, interestingly, that's being passed around. And that's why it was missed. because people were testing for this Zaire version, but it's this other version that people are getting it right now. And so we're kind of like getting onto it now. The World Health Organization, which I, by the way, am not a big fan of, is developing tests for it. And so that's what's going on now, if that makes sense to everybody listening.
It does. Apparently, this is in the news this morning. An Air France flight scheduled to land at a Detroit airport was diverted to Montreal over concerns of a possible Ebola virus exposure on board. And apparently, the passenger was from the Democratic Republic of Congo. And so, I feel like this is what we're going to be seeing now. And I guess part of my question is, and, you are obviously, you're a doctor, you're part of the medical community. And people go to this part of the world. People go to the Congo and Africa and all this to try to help the people in that part of the world, which is most certainly noble and it's a great thing. But there's also the risk that they do come back with some of these things that, frankly, we're not used to here in America. Is this the kind of thing where because this isn't prevalent in America, we are more susceptible to it?
That's a great question. No, I think everybody is susceptible to this thing, but the difference is how you transmit this, right? And that's why I don't believe this will become like a worldwide epidemic or like a pandemic, because see, viruses that are tricky are the ones that get spread. Like like COVID, remember, like you could be hanging out, you got COVID, you don't even know it, and you're giving it to your friends, your buddies, your neighbors, and they get COVID, then they don't know they have it, then they give it to their friends or buddies, and that's how you get viral spread. Ebola, right? You got to be really sick to give it to somebody. So and Ebola, the Zaire version was so vicious that you're dead so quickly that you can't really give it to a lot of people. And so that's like why I don't think that this virus will spread far, but I think that here you could get it in the sense that like people could, because we have never seen it, and we don't know about it. But I think it will be very, very hard for the virus to be transmitted all the way from Congo to here in like a mass like numbers. Like, are there going to be some people in the United States that are found to have this? Yes. Is it going to spread? No, I don't think so.
So, of course, everybody's mind is things like vaccines, vaccinations. It seems like every time something like this happens, we hear from the pharmaceutical companies and we hear from the people that are pro-pharma. And I'm not saying I'm not anti-pharma, whatever, but I think that after COVID, we're all just a little sus of the vaccines. And so I'm starting to hear things like that. What are your thoughts on a vaccine for Ebola? I would think that if that was possible, we would have had one by now because this has been around for a long time.
Yeah, in fact, there is a vaccine for Ebola for the Zaire version. It's called like Iveribo or it's out there, but the problem is that it number one, it's not been tested widely, like it hasn't gone through like the FDA protocols and stuff. But it's just I don't think that vaccine was like fully effective, but it does exist. But the problem, is, man, it's just not such a worldwide problem for us to have to go through and test for a vaccine and go through all these clinical trials. And I agree with you. I just think that, we can't vaccinate against everything in the world. I think we just have to be smart from an infectious disease and a community health standpoint. Like, for example, in Congo, one of the major ways this is transmitted is the way that they have funerals. So the way that they prepare a body, the way people are touching the body. So if you imagine, if you die of Ebola and you have this funeral, all these people can get infected by this dead body. So what they need to do is think about, the funeral rites and how they're doing things. And so these are basic community health strategies that they can employ that we need to and educate the local community. I just think that the vaccine stuff is kind of crazy, but there is one that exists.
I don't mean to sound insensitive, but you triggered a memory because I remember in school in like the 70s hearing about the whole how they prepare the bodies and Ebola and all that, because I'm fascinated by this. But Dr. Manisethi, this has been going on for decades, and they're still touching bodies and stuff like that. How have they not learned?
Well, this is the challenge, Dan, of the infrastructure and the way that we spend our money, supporting, places, organizations like the World Health Organization. I mean, I know we're not anymore, but you're totally right. There should have been a standard education that was implemented, decades ago, and they just don't. Look, I spent about a year in North Africa working with USAID when I was much younger, and I'm just telling you that the public health systems in these countries are so dysfunctional, and the American investment and the World Health Organization investment is so poorly managed that we're just, people are not doing what we need to be doing. So that basic idea, you're totally right. Like, why couldn't we just have created meaningful, lasting education in the community about health protocols like this?
All right, Dr. Manisethi, people are actually asking me to ask you about something called alpha-gal syndrome. So apparently this is something in the Southeast regarding tick bites. So I don't know if you are up to speed on that, but apparently this is something that is in the news. I have not seen this. However, I'm assuming you know about it. People are asking me to ask you about it, so I will do that coming up next. It is coming up on 646 on WTN. Time to check the roads. Cloudy, humid today, a couple of showers and a thunderstorm, high of 78. Going to feel like 79. Appreciate you listening to Super Talk 99.7. Dr. Manisethi is joining us. I had to do a real quick Google search on this, Doctor. Alpha-gal syndrome caused by tick bites. They leave a person allergic to mammalian products, and it also can cause nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and pain. And this is something that is happening here in the Southeast. So what do you know about it, and what do people need to know?
Well, this is an interesting problem, and the way it's it really transmits, and what I have seen is in children, man, because suddenly you'll have a child who's like 9, 10 years old. They'll eat some steak or a burger or something, and then they get this just wicked allergic reaction, and people just. So they go to a GI doctor, they go to this person, they go to that person, and all the while it was this alpha-gal syndrome. So it's basically transmitted by ticks, by a tick bite, and I haven't read up on this in years, so you're kind of catching me, off. But I think no, that's okay. And so what I would tell listeners is that the basic things are, if your kid gets a tick bite, the best thing to do immediately is get the tick off, clean the area with alcohol. I wouldn't go testing for alpha-gal syndrome immediately, but I would just kind of think about it. It's if your child develops like a sudden allergic reaction, or you develop an allergic reaction after a tick bite, this is something that's missed. It's like in that family of like things like Lyme disease that people just don't think about, but it's still rare. But it is happening in our region more and more as the weather changes and we get more prevalence of tick bites, particularly in the spring and the early summer.
Hey, Dr. Sethi, this is Joan Jones, and I wanted to ask you a question about that, the alpha-gal syndrome. A lot of people are saying that tick was created by, or it was a scheme devised by people like Bill Gates so that they would stop eating meat, and having to do with climate change. Do you know anything about that? Does he have an involvement in this?
That's, I haven't read that, and I haven't heard about alpha-gal syndrome in a long time, but
okay.
I would have to kind of read more to answer that. But no, I haven't really read much.
Leave it to
that,
Joan to ask Dr. Manisethi an awkward question. Thanks a lot, Joan.
No. It's one of those conspiracy theories that you hear so much about.
Hey, listen, I believe no question is a bad question, man. Like, especially in medicine, you got to like if you feel something, you got to talk about it. You know, it's like if you read something, you should discuss it. But how about this? Let me read about that, and then I'll connect back with you.
Dr. Manisethi, where are you on UAPs and UFOs? Do you believe all of this or not?
Man, I believe in aliens, brother.
There you go.
You know, illegal aliens, real aliens in space, they're all here, man.
They're all here and they're all a problem.
Are they tall green things with gangly arms? Is that what they are?
I don't know. You know, that part, that's a good question. I don't know. You know, I went to Roswell looking for him, but I couldn't find him. So
Did you really go to Roswell?
You know, I did, man. I went to Roswell on an RV trip with my kids like 2-3 years ago. It was amazing.
That
is
is
really
so
fun.
cool.
And you went looking for.
Yeah, we went. They have this whole community that's like it's really. They tell the history of like in the 1950s when they say some guy ran into this like UFO, and then the government came and they took the UFO and they told the guy if he said anything they'd put him in jail. It's crazy stories.
Interesting. All right, well, very good. Thank you, Dr. Sethi. I appreciate it, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Yeah, can I just say one thing to everybody? Be safe this Memorial Day weekend. Please, like, take care of yourself. Look, you know, just if you're drinking, just take it easy. Don't drive. Just be safe out there, guys.
And avoid ticks.
Yes, and avoid the alpha-gal syndrome.
Avoid
and
ticks
aliens.
And aliens and Ebola.
And Bill Gates.
And thank you, Doctor. We'll talk to you again soon.
God bless.
All right,
I'll talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
I thought he'd have an answer for us.
You know what the great thing is, though? Two things are true. If you're going to New Mexico, you will find aliens and illegal aliens.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because they have a lot of illegals and.
Well, and we didn't talk about it yesterday, but they secretly kind of signed into law back in March that they'll start fining federal agents for showing up at polling places in New Mexico. So if you're an ICE agent and you've been instructed to go work the polls in New Mexico, the state can authorize a $50,000 fine against you if you're within 50 feet of a polling center.
Is that legal to do? Can you actually do that?
I'm sure they can
they
issue
can
the
do
fine.
it. They can. Here's what I think. They can try it.
Yeah.
But then they are literally preventing a federal enforcement officer from executing their assigned duties.
Yeah.
Within a federal election.
Which basically.
But is being executed by the local level, at the state level.
They'll just end up sending him to collections. He's not going to pay that fine.
But you know what? That's kind of BS. Like we're trying to recruit more law enforcement officers and more ICE agents. I mean, how absolutely. Oh, what's the right? It's just hostile. That's the Democrats. That's just the hostility. Just drives me absolutely nuts. Anyway, but Joan, that was a great question.
Well, I was really hoping that he had the inside scoop on that. I mean, so many people say that Bill Gates was behind this.
So there's some credibility to that. There's some.
Not if you ask any of, if you ask an AI-generated response, none of them will say that he's linked to it.
Well, so the claims about him having any involvement in the Lone Star tick, there's nothing, to connect there. However, the Gates Foundation did fund research via Oxytech on self-limiting genetically modified cattle ticks. Started around 2021 with small grants working in the UK. Well, when I clicked on, I typed in ticks into Google and hit news, and then I go to The Guardian, has Lyme disease cases in England rise by more than 20% in a year. So maybe not here, but maybe other places have the gates opened.
Ha.
Okay, good.
I see what you did there.
Thanks, Sam. It is 6:53, Super Talk 99.7. Where are we? Okay, so Joan's got the news coming up at 7, Joan.
Yeah, the Biden administration official who allegedly hid confidential files in her computer by labeling them as recipes. That story is coming up here at 7 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. Appreciate it. 6:54, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Dan Mendes here, the Generator Super Center. How many ways can we lose power? You've got ice, you've got storms, you've got snow, you've got tornadoes, but there's one surefire way to get that power back on. That is the Generator Super Center and a backup generator from the Generator Super Center. Now, these folks, they are the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. They feature turnkey installation, certified electricians and plumbers, maintenance and service after the install, and a whole lot more. Now, let me tell you how it works. bottom line is the power goes out in your neighborhood. The power in your home is going to turn right back on thanks to your backup generator. And all of a sudden, you're going to see neighbors you haven't seen in years. So if you're one of the many families talking about a backup generator, talk to the pros at the Generator Supercenter. Another reason, by the way, to love the Generator Supercenter, their generators are made right here in the USA. They'll never leave you in the dark, and financing is available. They are waiting for your call. 615-879-1952, 615-879-1952, Generator Supercenter of Nashville.com. Dan Mandis here, and I keep seeing over and over again in Dr. Horn's reviews at Vision for Life, it's his patients saying, I should not have waited. And I couldn't agree more. The second my blurry eyes become clear-eyed, it's one of the things that I said almost immediately. Why did I wait so long? I've been thinking about it for years and years. I finally did it last year with Dr. Horn at Vision for Life. Before my lens replacement surgery, I did deal with the constant hassle of glasses and contacts. Reading and driving and working, everything simply felt harder than it needed to be. Now, these days, I can see clearly at every distance, and it has honestly changed my day-to-day life. So when I read review after review from patients saying the same thing, I wish that I had done this sooner. It really does hit home because that was me too. So friends, if you are dealing with age-related vision loss, cataracts, maybe you're just tired of blurry vision, do yourself a favor and don't wait. Dr. Horn at Vision for Life, he does take the time to evaluate your eyes and create a plan that is right for you. The procedure is quick, recovery is fast, and the results, they are life-changing. 615-436-2020. Call him, tell him Dan told you to reach out. 615-436-2020. Find him online anytime, visionforlife.com, visionforlife.com. You know, I think my favorite part of that interview with Dr. Sethi, and I have Joan Jones to thank for this, is finding out about his trip to Roswell.
Yeah, that's pretty cool that he did that. Did you see one of the super texters, though, talking about Roswell?
No.
they said that it used to be a really cute town with like aliens in all the themes and the parks and stuff. Now it's just it's a pot town. Smells like pot shops everywhere, and it's just been ruined.
Well, that's kind of sad.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I think that would be a really cool trip to do, and good for Dr. Sethi for doing that.
Oh, yeah, with his
taking
kids?
His kids.
I mean, that is very cool. 3879 says, do you believe that Art Bell's death was accidental?
I do not.
I don't even know what does that have to do with anything? Did I miss something? I mean, he's been dead for like forever.
Well, did you also, a guy apparently was supposed to testify before Congress the other day on UFOs and stuff, and then he accidentally overdosed.
Who did?
This is what I love about Sam. It's time to go to the news, and he throws that out there. It's like, okay, great, Sam. Good job.
What are we supposed to do with that?
Never bring something up unless you're ready to like fill in all the blanks, because Joan and I are looking at each other on FaceTime going, what? All right. We'll come back to that, and I don't know anything about Art Bell's death, so whatever. But anyway, we got a lot more straight ahead. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning, now 7 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. A former Justice Department prosecutor charged now with 4 counts of emailing confidential records during special counsel Jack Smith's investigation into President Trump. Carmen Leinberger allegedly copied Jack Smith's report and then sent it to her personal email, disguising it as bundt cake recipes to conceal it from record searches. President Trump, of course, no fan of Jack Smith.
He's a bad guy. He's a sick man. There's something wrong with him, actually. I think Jack Smith is a sick man. There's something really wrong with him.
Leinberger pleaded not guilty yesterday in a federal court appearance. She faces decades in prison if convicted. There are still some questions about whether Iran's supreme leader is even alive. But Reuters is reporting this morning that Mojtaba Khamenei has ordered near weapons-grade uranium will be kept inside Iran despite demands to give it up from the U.S. Meantime, Trey Yingst at Fox News on the latest peace proposal.
Iran's foreign ministry says they are reviewing a new U.S. proposal. This comes as Pakistan's interior minister made a last-minute trip to the Iranian capital of Tehran for talks aimed at moving a possible agreement forward. Iran's foreign minister spoke yesterday with a warning for the United States.
Should it become necessary, should the interests of the state dictate that we prepare ourselves in the field of diplomacy.
President Trump says he's in no hurry to make a deal since the U.S. naval blockade is causing significant economic damage to Iran and weakening the regime.
Meantime, War Secretary Pete Hegseth saying that the U.S. is locked and loaded when it comes to Iran. A new lawsuit filed against the Tennessee Highway Patrol by several immigration groups. In it, they accuse THP of conducting joint operations with Immigrations and Customs Enforcement officers by allowing ICE agents to travel along with them during routine traffic stops in Nashville, Robertson County, and in Memphis. That suit says those stops are being used as a cover for immigration enforcement. And today kicks off the Memorial Day weekend travel rush. Roads and airports will see crowds beginning today.
Even though gas prices and airfares are up this year, Memorial Day weekend travel is expected to be record-breaking. AAA predicts 45 million Americans will travel at least 50 miles from home beginning today through Monday. 3.5 million are expected to fly domestically. AAA says top domestic places people are going to over the holiday weekend: Orlando, Seattle, New York, Las Vegas, Miami, and San Francisco. Alex Stone, ABC News.
And they're not coming to Nashville? That's crazy. Market Numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. We are looking at stock futures this morning in the negative territory. We've got Dow futures down 54, NASDAQ futures losing 116 now. S&P futures are minus 17. That's the latest news. Stick around for traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Got a crash on Briley Parkway in Madison this morning. It's on the eastbound off-ramp to southbound Ellington Parkway, exit 15A and B. That crash is on the off-ramp itself. Bell Road in Nashville, a crash at Brittany Park Drive. And in Bellshire, Dickerson Pike at Doverside Drive. That's the scene of another crash. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.706 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends. Hope you are doing well. And welcome on into a Thursday, May 21st of 2026. A few headlines for you quickly. This is breaking news, I guess, although I don't understand why it's breaking news. But apparently CNN, at least that's what we have on here in the studio, breathlessly reporting that Iran is already producing and rebuilding their military infrastructure. Also, negotiations continue between the United States and Iran. And Donald Trump is saying, listen, I'm not in any real hurry. And, of course, there does seem to be some friction between Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu. There was apparently a big call last night where Donald Trump and Netanyahu spoke for quite some time. And Netanyahu wants to begin the bombing or re-begin the bombing started immediately. Donald Trump is saying, no, I would rather save lives and hold off until I really feel like it's possible. 65% of the American people, according to a Fox News poll, say the U.S. is winning the war. 35% say that Iran is winning the war. And this week in the Senate, Democrats and a few, what I would say, malcontent Republicans in the Senate have managed to advance a war powers resolution. So the big question that I would have is what is next with that war powers resolution? Senator Blackburn is joining us on the Newsmaker Hotline. Senator, were you surprised that this war powers resolution was advanced?
It was disappointing to me to see that it advanced. We know that President Trump has said this is a targeted, limited operation. We cannot allow Iran to ever have a nuclear warhead. He is continuing to work on this. Secretary Rubio, Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner and the vice president are all working on this. The president is working with Benjamin Netanyahu. They are working with our allies. We cannot allow Iran to have a nuclear weapon, and we would all like to see this resolved and to see this enriched uranium turned over to the International Atomic Energy Agency so that we are certain that we put an end to this. We have to realize Iran has been at war with us for 47 years. They have harmed and killed thousands of Americans, and Donald Trump had said, we're going to put an end to this. So I know that those negotiations are continuing. I do know that Iran has made a proposal. I do know that there is a response that is coming, and I know the American people want to see this ended. They want to see the price at the pump for a gallon of gas come down.
One of the things that is also being reported today, Iran is drawing a hard line in nuclear talks, insisting its enriched uranium must stay inside the country. Now, that is a red line for Donald Trump as well. I guess bottom line on this is, do you believe that Iran is actually negotiating in good faith, or are they, like many people suspect, they're just trying to wait out the president?
in some part, they're trying to wait out not only the president and the American people, but what we do know is their economy is collapsing. They are not able to move their oil. Their storage facilities and the tankers are full. Now, if they can't move that, then they can't make any money. And we also know when Iran makes a dollar, that dollar gets spent one of two ways, and that is on terrorism and funding these terrorist organizations like Hamas, Hezbollah, Houthis, the splinter groups, and also on uranium and enriching that uranium. And Dan, that's just got to come to a stop. So their economy is at the point of collapse. Inflation is through the roof there, and they are trying to find a way to make a deal. But here's the thing. If they were to get a deal and come to the table on something, then the enforcement mechanism on this is going to be very difficult because it is hard to get them to keep their word when they do make an agreement.
Well, that's why we got to watch them. Senator Marsha Blackburn joining us. Senator, we only have a couple of minutes. I'm trying to hurry through all this. ICE and Border Patrol still not funded. A budget reconciliation bill could be voted on in the Senate this week. This thing has been, I'm just going to say it, a cluster to say the least. But do you think it's going to finally pass in the Senate?
I do think it will pass in the Senate. We're going to go in at 11, and hopefully we will be able to move forward what is a public safety and security reconciliation and fund ICE and Border Patrol. We have to realize, Dan, that, the Democrats' goal is to abolish ICE and to defund federal law enforcement. We cannot let them do that. We have got to fund this through the rest of President Trump's term so we take this issue off the table and stop these ridiculous shutdowns and the fact that the Democrats expect TSA and to go to work and not be paid, and they don't want to issue checks to people that are waiting and counties that are waiting for FEMA checks. And, of course, we've had that in Upper East Tennessee still dealing with Hurricane Helene. And when they shut FEMA down or when they shut DHS down, they're shutting down FEMA, and people are not getting those checks. When they shut down DHS, they're shutting down Homeland Security investigations, and that is money we're using to go after the drug dealers and the sex traffickers and the predators and conduct these investigations and deport people that are illegally in the country. And Tennesseans want to see these illegal aliens deported. They want that border to be secure. So we are pushing to get this done.
Senator Hakeem Jeffries.
Can I say one more thing there?
Yeah,
Can I say one more thing there, too? There are some of us still working to start that work on the Save America Act through this reconciliation bill. And I've got legislation that would require our states, it would incentivize our states to check their voter rolls once a quarter against these DHS rolls that will tell you who's in the country illegally or on a visa or a permanent resident, and they are not allowed to vote in our elections. So the conservatives in the Senate steering committee is what we're called. And, of course, Mike Lee has had the lead on Save America. And you've got Rick Scott and me and Ted Cruz and Cynthia Lummis and Haggerty. Some of us are working to get Save America and some tied to Save America included in this.
Senator, I really appreciate that. I can tell you my frustration with John Thune is through the roof. And I know that you understand why people are frustrated with this. And I love that you're trying to do that. Is he going to allow that to get into the process, into the budget reconciliation process?
And here's the thing. There are not 50 votes in the Senate for Save America. And we have been able over the last 3 years to push it. We're still about 3 or 4 votes short. But you know what? The way you get something across the finish line is to not give up and to continue to work on it. So it is an issue that the votes are just not there. We've got 3 or 4 members that are not for it, and we continue to make the case of why we are for it, why you need to show that ID, why you need to be a citizen to vote in our elections.
The conversation, of course, about eliminating the filibuster, that has been well worn. I do want to ask you about this question, though, about this topic. Hakeem Jeffries the other day said, and the NAACP and the Black Caucus, Congressional Black Caucus, they're asking black athletes across America to boycott the SEC and southern states because of the redistricting. Do you have a reaction to that?
And what we do know is that the Supreme Court has said you can't use race when it comes to employment and education and now to drawing districts. And these districts that we have redrawn, I give our legislature a lot of credit, and they are based so that they're fairly drawn. And my hope is that you are going to see us continue to work on fairness to make certain that we are drawing these districts on fairness. I hope that athletes are going to choose our programs because they are great programs. And they know that they're going to have a great team. They're going to have great coaches. And when they're coming into Tennessee, whether they're going to UT or Vanderbilt or MTSU or University of Memphis, Tennessee Tech, our other schools, our community colleges that have different sports teams, I want these students to choose a team and a school that is going to allow them to be a student athlete, to be a scholar athlete, that they're going to have doors of opportunity open to them where they are going to learn how to be a part of a team, how to exercise leadership, because most kids that play college athletics, 95% never play in the pros. But it is a way that they can get an education and they can then build those skills that they're going to be able to use the rest of their life. And Tennessee is a great place. It is the best state to open those doors of opportunity.
Senator, everybody knows that you are running for governor. There is a chance that you will be governor, in 2030 when the Super Bowl is in Tennessee. How exciting would that be for you?
That is so exciting, and I'm so proud of Nashville and the Titans and the way they've made this proposal. And then for that opportunity, what an amazing way to be able to showcase our state. I understand that Dina Ivey and the team that has worked on this has said they are going to reinvent the Super Bowl experience. And so my hat's off to the governor, the mayor, the Titans, and everyone who has worked so hard to make certain that Nashville gets their shot at showcasing and bringing the Super Bowl to the city. That is going to be awesome, and I have no doubt Tennesseans are going to make it the best that has ever taken place.
All right, Senator, thank you very much for joining us here on Nashville's Morning News. And for the record, tell your people we had like 10 seconds to spare, so we just hit the deadline.
You got it. Take care. Bye.
All right, we'll see you later. Senator Blackburn. Hey, do you know, would this have been inappropriate, Sam and Joan? I want Joan to answer first.
Okay.
So there is a chance that she will be the governor in 2030, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Would it have been inappropriate if I said, hey, can I come sit in your box at the Super Bowl?
Yes, 1,000%.
I told you I wanted Joan to answer first. Joan? Would it have been inappropriate if I had asked Senator, if she's governor, can I come sit in her in her box at the Super Bowl.
I think Secret Service would have been here carrying you out if you did ask her such a silly question. Of course you can't do that, Dan.
Then it's
I would have
probably good
enjoyed
that I
seeing
didn't.
that.
It's probably good that I didn't do it then.
Yeah.
See, I don't.
I had to jump out in front of that because as the other man in the studio, I have to dodge out like Neo in the Matrix when it comes to that kind of question.
Listen, I've met the woman like twice. Like I've spoken to Marsha Blackburn like many times over the years, and I think I counted. I've actually met her in person. I think two, 3 times. And
Would she recognize you if she saw you?
Boy, that's a good. No, I don't think she would.
Yeah.
That's a great question, Joan.
I don't.
Do you know what
that,
Do you know what I'm? And because I'm just gonna. Andrea says, "Dang, Joan burned you so politely." Anyway, whatever. 'Cause a lot of people don't like Marsha Blackburn in our audience, which is fine. A lot of people do. A lot of people don't. Do you know what I'd say about the senator? Is that one of the things that I will always, and I'm not taken up for, folks. I'm not. It's not my job to defend politicians. But when Phil Valentine died, do you know one of the first people that called me personally on my cell phone was Marsha Blackburn?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was on my way home. We did a whole thing here the day that Phil passed. And then a couple of hours later, my phone rang, and it was Marsha Blackburn. And she was on the phone with me. And I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. We were both crying because she and Phil went back a long way. So I do understand that there's people that, just they don't like her for whatever reason, and that's fine. And I understand it's my job to be, sus of politicians. But I will tell you that from a human standpoint, I think that she's a good person. And I think that we can all have our disagreements with politicians and all that kind of stuff. But I do understand there's things we agree on, things we disagree on. But I still feel like I probably I'm close enough to her based on all of many years of conversations that I can ask her if I can sit in the Super Bowl suite of the governor, if she's the governor.
Well, yeah, if you say it like that.
That's what I'm saying. I could say, Senator, you and I have been knowing each other for a long time.
Those are the kind of things that you get the invitation from her. It's not something that you ask for. If you're important enough, you'll get that invitation.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
See, no, Dan, I disagree. You're established, okay? People know who you are.
That's right.
And you don't take up much room in a suite.
Oh. I had a really, really funny thing happen to me yesterday. And I'm going to be late, but I'm going to do it here. So I am at Rikers School. Oh, this was funny. I'm at Rikers School, and there's like a male person, a mailman, whatever, and he pulls up to the school. I am walking out of the school. He's walking in. He's walking away from his mail vehicle, whatever. He's got WTN blasting.
Oh.
I hear Brian Wilson, who was in for Chris Hand. This was a 10 o'clock hour thing. So I'm listening, and I hear, oh, that's Brian. He's listening to WTN. He is walking towards me. I'm walking towards the parking lot. The big question is, do I say, hey, I love that you're listening to WTN. I work there. And I'm the morning show. What do you think I did? Joan, Sam, what do you think I did?
You walked right past him.
Did I acknowledge and say, hey, thanks for listening, hoping that maybe he knew who I was, or I would be confronted with the very awkward situation? I love Chris Hand. Who are you? What do you think I did?
I think you walked right by him.
Sam?
I think you mumbled under your breath, nice. And then you walked right by him.
I walked right by him. I did not engage at all, because that's happened before, many, many years ago, where I would say, hey, I see you're listening to WTN. I do noon to 3 on the station. This, that, and then, oh, I've never heard your show. And I'd been here like a year and a half, you know, at that point. But it's middays, it's hard. So anyway, so no, as a general rule, if I hear somebody listening to WTN, I don't engage, because I don't want to be that guy.
Something like, hey, I like that radio station too. See what they have to say.
I could have.
If they recognize you, they will,
Yeah.
They'll say something.
But I also don't want to be like an attention whore.
Yeah.
Which is weird for a guy in radio
Right.
to openly admit that I don't want to be an attention whore. Because, literally, my job is trying to get attention to myself.
Right.
I guess.
Is that
what radio is? Trying to get attention to yourself?
Well, you have to, because if you don't,
Yeah.
It's exactly right.
We do spend
who pays the bills?
We do spend a fair amount of time talking about your outfits and how effective they are.
Anyway, it is 7:26, Nashville's Morning News, Super Talk 99.7. WTN. Joan has the news coming up at 7:30. Joan.
Yeah, we'll tell you who is not going to apply for money from that new anti-weaponization fund from the Justice Department. It's coming up here at 7:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis for my buddy Dr. Kevin Mitchell and all the pain pros at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. They've always got the latest and greatest technology to help you heal. And right now, they've got something called Medical Bay 1. It's not a new TV drama. It is a brand new way to heal. Now, Dr. Mitchell himself designed Medical Bay 1, and really it's described as a futuristic healing machine that massages your body while doing full-body lasers using light, including near-infrared. It also adds stem cell stimulations for tissue regeneration and uses photons of wavelengths for ultimate healing. All that to say, it is an amazing experience where you're really sitting in like an Artemis-type medical bay, and it's going to light your cells for photon healing. So launch your pain-free voyage today by calling my friends at the Wellness Institute of Nashville, 615-246-5009. You mention my name, you get $33 off of each visit. That's right, $33 off of each visit when you call 615-246-5009. The website, painisbad.com.
Good morning, 7:32. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Nashville still celebrating after the NFL revealed the 2030 Super Bowl is coming to Music City. Thousands of people gathered on Lower Broadway last night for a celebration that included country stars like Tim McGraw, Tennessee Titans legends, and politicians like Governor Bill Lee.
We do have magic in this city, and it has been happening for a long time. When something good happens in some part of Tennessee, every Tennessean benefits from that. We're a city that the whole world knows about.
That event ended last night with a drone and fireworks show. More than 90 congressional Democrats are asking a federal judge to block the agreement reached between the IRS and President Trump that establishes a $1.8 billion fund to compensate people improperly targeted by the Biden Justice Department. In exchange, President Trump dropped a $10 billion lawsuit for the leak of his tax returns. Tennessee Congressman Andy Ogle saying he will not apply for any money from that fund, despite his phone being seized by the FBI during a campaign finance investigation. Millions of Americans heading out for the Memorial Day weekend, but news that a giant sinkhole has opened up on a runway at LaGuardia Airport, and it's affecting air travel all around the country. Here's Will Reeve with ABC News.
200 flights canceled, hundreds more delayed, shutting down one of LaGuardia's 2 runways for hours.
Ground, what happened to the runway 422? There's a sinkhole.
Airport officials say they found the sinkhole at 11 a.m. during routine airfield inspection and immediately closed the runway for emergency repairs.
And in Philadelphia, fire officials battling a fire at a scrapyard operated by Amtrak. It has caused cancellations on the rail line. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
734 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Super text line 615-737-9986. When your home needs comfort, you can count on Call the Pros at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Right now, they've got some great deals for you every single month. They have a litany, if you will, a whole bunch of ways to save you money. Take advantage of special financing on new HVAC systems right now with up to 12 months, no payment and no interest, and no prepayment penalty either. And approvals, of course, vary by credit. So here's the sweet deal. You can get a free Yeti Tundra 45 cooler when you install a 17 SEER or higher or high-efficiency HVAC unit. If you want healthier air, the Healthy Hive Exclusive gives you an electronic air cleaner and whole home UV system. Regularly, that's going to be $2,799. Now that is $2,299 installed. Going to save about $500. Plus, Busy Bee is going to handle the TVA rebates for you as well. Get $800 back on mini split systems, $500 to $800 back on heat pump systems, and even a $50 rebate on AC tune-ups. Find them online, busybeehvac.com, 615-775-7833, 615-775-7833, busybeehvac.com.
East Nashville, it's Dickerson Pike, north of Trinity Lane, where you'll find a crash involving injuries. Old Hickory Boulevard in Laverne, the scene of a crash at Saddle Creek Way. Another in Antioch on Cane Ridge Road at William Turner Parkway. And then on Briley Parkway in Madison, the eastbound off-ramp to southbound Ellington Parkway. That's exit 15A and B. There's a crash right there on the off-ramp, and the right shoulder is blocked. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$7:38, Super Talk 99.7 WTN, 615-737-9986 is the super text line. Going to start putting some of you people on timeout. People are a little persnickety. It's like it's Monday. So I said during the, this has been my life in the past like 3 minutes. I go over to the super text line real quick. And I've been told that I am on the payroll of Benjamin Netanyahu, which if I can be honest, I wish I was. I'd make a lot more money and live in a better house. That I do defend politicians and why are you talking about yourself when there's all this news going on? I took 90 seconds to tell a personal anecdote. That's all I did.
Actually, that anecdote was news, okay? The mailman was listening to the station.
It's exactly
you should
right.
know about that.
And
that's an informed mailman.
And according to 3703, anecdotally, we are the #1 radio station of the U.S. Postal Service.
That's exactly right.
Boom.
That's exactly right. Mic drop, although around here, mics actually do drop on the table often. Anyway.
How about a door slam? That work for you?
Okay, so when I said that I don't defend politicians, and a couple of people said, you defend politicians all the time. Well, if I agree with their policy or with a certain piece of legislation, yeah. But I'm defending the policy, and I'm not necessarily defending politicians, although, sure, I probably defended Donald Trump a time or two. There's probably been times when I've actually defended a Democrat. I can't remember when.
John DeBerry.
Look at you, Sam, actually contributing. You're right, John DeBerry. Sorry, I did say actually contributing. I should have said that. Thank you, Sam. You're right. Always contributing. Typically bad jokes, but that's okay. I would love a piece of that wood. And that. Thank you. All right, moving right along. Karen Bass was interviewed by CNN. Have you seen this interview, Joan?
I haven't.
Oh, my goodness. Sam, have you seen this interview?
Is this in the jail?
No, she's not in a jail.
That's what it looks like.
I don't know where she is, but she's wearing a purple vest. But anyway, so when she ran for office many, many years ago in Los Angeles, she was asked, she's been in LA politics and California politics for a long time. And she was promised that she would eliminate the homeless problem 100% in LA County. So CNN asked her about that in this video, and here's what she said.
When you talked to Jake Tapper in 2023, you said that your goal was to end street homelessness in LA by 2026. It's now 2026.
And we haven't ended it.
We have not ended it, and we're not close to ending it. How are you so off?
Well, basically, when I said that, it was at the beginning of my term. I am very committed to achieving that goal. I didn't anticipate some of the bureaucratic barriers that I would experience, but I am prepared to take those on now.
So can I ask a question? So she just said that she was not familiar with the bureaucratic barriers, and now she's ready and willing to take them on. Really? Because you've been in office for, I don't know, 3 years?
Too long.
Why haven't you been taking them on for the last 3 years? Why is it only now that you're running for a second term, that you're ready to take them on. But can I tell you why she's full of crap? She is full of crap because she was a member of the California Assembly, the state legislature, for years. She was actually Speaker of the California Assembly. How would she not be familiar with the bureaucratic hurdles that were there to inhibit her from being able to solve the homeless problem? I'd be willing to bet that she voted for a lot of that red tape as a member of the California legislature. She was probably there, voting for the red tape, voting for the regulations. She was part of the problem. The problem in LA and the problem in California is not only the bureaucracy, but also the Democrats. There's a reason why this mayoral race and the governor's race in the state of California is so important. Is because, number one, you have Gavin Newsom, the current governor, who is going to run for presidency. That's number one. But number two, it's because California, would you say, Joan, which is a bigger train wreck? Which is a bigger example of Democrat policies don't work? Is it New York, or would you say it's California? That's a tough one.
It is a tough one because they both have their own flavor of train wreckery.
Yes.
And they both have their bailout systems of different corporations and businesses that they can tax the hell out of.
And they all are doing the same thing, which is going after, the millionaires and the billionaires who don't pay their fair share. But the reality is both are prime examples of why the Democrats' brand of politics simply doesn't work. And so there's a reason why we cover these things, even if we are in the state of Tennessee, because there are national ramifications and ramifications here in Tennessee as far as who ultimately becomes the president of the United States. Anyway, so Karen Bass, he would not let her off the hook.
And let me just give you an example. Los Angeles made a decision probably 20, 25 years ago to not address street homelessness, to focus solely on building. And granted, I have fast-tracked 42,000 units of affordable housing, but it still takes a couple of years. So basically, the policy of LA City and LA County was we could accept street homelessness as long as we were building. We didn't anticipate the problem metastasizing. In my 3.5 years, for the first time, 2 years in a row, street homelessness has decreased in our city. There hadn't been a decrease before. That is a quality of life issue that impacts all Angelenos. Whether you are unhoused or whether you run a business and your business can't function because there's tents outside, whether you're a parent that's trying to navigate through tents to get to school, or whether it's residents where it has decreased the quality of life. So this is a problem that all Angelenos experience.
Do you know when I hear her speak, Joan, do you know what I think? That her name is more Karen Dumbass.
Oh, I like that, Dan. Yes, well timed, Sam.
I'm going to admit, Joan, that I stole that from Sam.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. I'll be here.
Well done. Yeah.
He says into my headphones, he says, more like, and I told him I'm stealing that. That is good, and I'm going to steal it.
So you could say
At least you're honest.
You could say that, people who vote for her are a bunch of Karen Dumbasses.
You certainly could, and that would be very, very accurate. So he goes on to this CNN, because she's going on, and he does say, okay, so that's great. You cut homelessness, I guess, by 17%, whatever, but you promised to cut it 100%. Wait till you hear what her response is. We'll have that right after the traffic right here on WTN. Cloudy and humid, a couple of showers and thunderstorms today. High of 78, going to feel like 79 on Super Talk 99.7.
But you promised that it would go away 100%, and it's only gone down about 17.6%.
Right.
So why should people trust you that you're going to be able to get to the 100%?
Because let me just tell you, for the first time, we've had a decrease at all. There was not a decrease before at all because there was no commitment to get rid of street encampments. And we had encampments all over the city. So I would ask for people's trust in the sense that we have absolutely made progress. We know what we need to do now to end street homelessness. We need to end the failed policies of the past, which is all we're going to do is focus on building, and we are going to ignore street homelessness. That is what the city and the county has done for years, ignored street homelessness.
So, again, not to belabor the point, but she has been a part of the governmental infrastructure of California for years and years and years. So, and the problem is, you know, she can't escape her past. She cannot escape her incompetence. By the way, have you seen the latest Spencer Pratt ad? This is really good. You got three guys in California. One of them is wearing an LA Dodgers baseball cap, and they are at a barbecue, and they're talking about politics.
This mayor race is really heating up. Who you guys voting for? Haven't decided? Same, haven't really been following it. Same. Same? Same. I'm not MAGA or anything, but the city's kind of gone to though, right? Oh yeah, Jessica stepped on a needle at the playground the other day. I'm not MAGA or anything though. I'm not MAGA or anything, but have you been downtown lately? Looks like an episode of The Walking Dead. Not that I'm MAGA or anything though. Spencer Pratt seems like he has some good ideas. Not that I'm MAGA or anything. He does seem really angry all the time, though. Well, they did burn his house down. Also, apparently he's staying at the Bel Air Hotel, not the trailer on his property. Well, yeah. They burned his house down. Okay, we're all adults here. How about on three, we just say who we're voting for? 1, 2, 3. Spencer Pratt. Yeah. Spencer Pratt. Spencer Pratt.
And on the screen it says, "You are not alone."
Can you imagine if our wives knew?
Cut to the wives.
We're all voting for Spencer Pratt, right? Of course. Obviously. I wish I could vote like yesterday.
So there you go. A great ad for, and he's just, you weren't here the other day, Joan, but I was talking to Matthew Hurt about the ads, the AI-generated ads that Spencer Pratt or people affiliated with him or supporters of him have put together. And his ads really are redefining what it means to have a political ad out there. They are really good. And AI is just, I mean, you've got ads, and I played one the other day, but you've got ads where you've got Karen Bass walking through the feces and fire-strewn streets of Los Angeles, like fist-bumping homeless people and crack addicts and the whole thing, and how she must enjoy watching her city of Los Angeles go to hell in a handbasket.
Yeah.
So people are watching, they're taking notice of what Spencer Pratt is doing out on the campaign trail. Whether he wins or loses, he really is changing the way political campaigns are run. By the way, one of the other things that he did, he is talking about why it is or how it is that he became a Republican. And you know what it had to do with? Guns. Listen to this.
Why are you a Republican?
Well, you want to break some news here?
Sure.
It's in my, I've told this before, and this is the only time I've ever said this, so this is breaking news. Everyone's just going to freak out. When I was a hated reality star, I got so many death threats. I had so much security and police, and what did they tell me to do? Get a gun. This is real. I know people don't like guns, but LA was dangerous if you're hated. So I got a gun. My wife got a gun. And then we needed CCWs. The only people that supported a CCW was the Republican. That was what I aligned with, my safety, my personal safety, my family's safety. I know people don't like guns, but when people are threatening your life and your own security is telling you you need to have home protection, train to, it's not like just I went to the, go through the proper steps. That was my That's
impetus.
it.
And
Period.
that was it. And you
That's
felt
it.
like that party was more pro Second Amendment.
So there you go. So the reason why Spencer Pratt became a Republican was because of the Second Amendment. I do find it funny. A couple of things with the last couple of videos that I played was I did find it funny where the three guys at the barbecue, I'm not MAGA or anything. They kept, and I've seen a couple of different videos on that. And I don't know, maybe I'm in a Tennessee bubble. Hey, Joan, you just got back from Maryland. So one of the things that I absolutely hate about the left and the media is when they talk about MAGA, they talk about MAGA like it is some sort of,
Disease.
monolith of hate.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, MAGA likes this or MAGA likes that. And it's like, I don't like that they do that because they're making it seem like MAGA is something that the rest of the world needs to despise because we're a bunch of barbarians at the gate. No, we're not. The barbarians at the gate are the ones that crashed through the gate when Joe Biden, dropped the gate, i.e. the border, and let all those illegal aliens in. So, if MAGA is pro-2A, pro-secure border, pro-legal immigration, well, then fine, guilty as charged. I could go through all of the things as to why you should actually be proud to be MAGA and not be like, well, I'm not MAGA or anything. I did find that funny. President Trump, by the way, he has come out and he has said that he is pro Spencer Pratt. He was, I guess, asked about Spencer Pratt. This was yesterday. And here it is. Oh, my computer is now doing that's Jiminy Crickets. Let me see if I can make it play.
Spencer Pratt, do you see yourself in him at all? A former reality TV star?
No, I'd like to see him do well. He's a character. I don't know him. I assume he probably supports me. Does he support me?
I think so.
I think so, yeah. I heard he does. I heard he's a big MAGA person. He's doing well. I don't know.
It's always about Trump, by the way. I love him.
If you have a rigged vote out there, that's the problem. The votes are rigged. You have a really rigged vote in California. You have all the mail-in ballots, everything else. It's very hard to win because the elections are very dishonest. If we had Jesus Christ come down and count the votes, I would have won California because I do great with Hispanics. But it's a rigged vote. They send out 38 million votes. Nobody knows where they're going. Of course, the Democrats do, I guess. But disproportionately, Democrats get many more votes. Some get 8 votes. They get 8 cards, and Republicans have to call in, where's my card? It's a rigged system. One of the most, not the worst, I'll give you a list. Maybe I'll do my list. But California is one of the most dishonest states for voting.
So, anyway, in the midst of that, he did say that he was supportive of Spencer Pratt, and do you know what Spencer Pratt is saying, by the way? Because he was asked about that, and I love his answer. Basically, he said, you know what? I am laser focused on the moms in Los Angeles who are trying to protect their kids from all of the needles and the homeless people. He is laser focused on that. In other words, he's not saying, oh, I don't want Donald Trump's support. He's also not saying, oh, it's great that Donald Trump supports me. He says, I am laser focused on helping the moms in Los Angeles. That is really smart. I love that he's doing that, and I think that he is running a terrific campaign. All right, it is 7:55. Joan's got the news coming up at 8. Joan.
Yeah, coming up here, Dan, we have more on the big Super Bowl victory, I guess you could call it, here in Nashville. The Super Bowl, of course, is coming to Nashville in 2030. And we'll also tell you about a bus driver, busted yesterday for DUI. Those stories coming up here at 8 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. 7:56. Dan Mandis here for my friends at the Covered Patio. Warmer weather means you want to spend more time outside. If you want to add more living space to your home, think about building or upgrading your patio. They've got motorized screens so that you can easily keep the patio open when you want some sun and closed when you want some shade. So your back screened-in porch becomes a lot more enjoyable. And they've got a ton of outdoor living options at the Covered Patio. They've got motorized screens, patio covers, custom wooden decks, and outdoor structures as well. They've got a ton of options with styles for every budget, including yours. The Covered Patio is dedicated to fair prices and customized solutions for your specific home and your specific space. Enjoy your home a lot more with an incredible patio upgrade from The Covered Patio. Reach out to The Covered Patio, 615-695-2407, 615-695-2407, online, thecoveredpatio.com, thecoveredpatio.com.
Good morning, 8 o'clock. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. With the Super Bowl coming to Nashville in 2030, security plans are now underway to keep the city and football fans safe. Here's Nashville Police Chief John Drake speaking to WSMV4.
We do a lot to keep events safe. We've had some major cities, a lot bigger than Nashville, come here to see what we do. So we're already planning. We're putting committees together with the police department. We'll start working with Fire OEM and our federal partners, and then we'll just keep building from there. It starts today.
Yeah, the event is expected to bring in hundreds of thousands of visitors and hundreds of millions in the local economy. A special education bus driver busted for DUI yesterday after crashing into a parked car in Nashville. Channel 4's Danielle Ledbetter saying that crash occurred yesterday afternoon at the intersection of Alteros Drive and Sunnywood Drive.
That bus was heading to Shane Elementary to pick up children and then take them home. No students were on board at the time, but the driver, 75-year-old Mandubiri Noki, was placed on administrative leave while the district investigates.
The driver had been with Metro Nashville schools for 3 years. The reconciliation bill that funds ICE and Customs and Border Protection advanced in the Senate Budget Committee yesterday. Now it'll come up for a vote on the Senate floor today. Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn speaking with Dan Mendez earlier this morning.
I do think it will pass in the Senate. We're going to go in at 11. And hopefully we will be able to move forward what is a public safety and security reconciliation and fund ICE and Border Patrol. We have to realize, Dan, that, the Democrats' goal is to abolish ICE and to defund federal law enforcement. We cannot let them do that.
House Majority Leader Steve Scalise saying he's ready to move to get a House vote today, too, after the Senate votes to approve it. The number of people applying for state jobless benefits is down a little bit.
The Labor Department's weekly report on unemployment filings found 209,000 people submitting their initial applications in the week leading up to May 16th. That's 3,000 fewer than the week before. All told, about 7.4 million Americans are collecting unemployment.
That's ABC's Jim Ryan. Money News brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. We are looking at stock futures this morning that are a bit down. We've got the Dow futures minus 161, NASDAQ futures losing 165, S&P futures down 28 points. That's the latest news, traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. I-440 westbound in Woodbine, right at Nolensville Pike. You've got a crash on the left shoulder. 65 south and White House just before Bethel Road. It's police activity, and it's off to the right shoulder. Traffic is stop and go behind it. Edmondson Pike in Nashville, a crash at Huntington Parkway. And one more in Laverne. It's on Old Hickory Boulevard at Saddle Creek Way. Traffic every 10 minutes, every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
8:07, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends. Hope you are doing well, and welcome on in. Joan, am I supposed to be outraged over, can you just explain to me what this whole fund thing is that the Democrats and the media, they're all just, they're you-know-whats are all up in a wad?
Yeah. So President Trump had a $10 billion claim, a lawsuit against the IRS because of when they released his tax returns.
Yeah.
I mean, it harmed his company.
Sure.
So he dropped the lawsuit, but instead he established this $1.8 billion fund. It compensates people who say that they were unfairly investigated by the Biden DOJ. And man, everybody is up in arms because and the big thing they're focused on right now is, hey, J6ers can go in and say that they were unjustly prosecuted by the DOJ.
They can, and they were.
They can, yeah, and they absolutely were.
So if anybody, they spent time in a rat-infested prison. You probably know where that prison is in Washington, D.C.
I do. It's rat infested. And they did so many other things, like they would move them constantly. They would move them without telling them, without them being able to tell their families where they were. Yeah. So they could be Wednesday in D.C. and by Thursday afternoon, they're in Indiana somewhere. Sometimes they're down in Florida. They would move them everywhere.
Right.
And they did it to substantially make their lives miserable. They did it on purpose. Mm-hmm. It was punitive. It was torturesome. And they knew what they were doing.
So why should I love that they're doing this.
Yes.
I do. I love that they're doing this. I think that if they're concerned about the January 6ers, well, then it's sad that they weren't concerned with how the J6ers were treated.
Yeah, they didn't even try.
In Washington, D.C., and in the mainstream media, I believe that they believe that there is no lower life form than a J6er.
Yes.
Do you know what I
Yes.
mean? It's like you can be a Hamas-loving, free Palestine kind of person, and but if you are a J6er, you are lower than all those other people. That support terrorism, that support the bad guys, they support the drug cartels with the open borders. If you're a J6er, you are the lowest life form according to people on the left and the media. And the reason being is that the J6ers and, they stood up to they stood up for what they believed in and what was going on in Washington, D.C. at the time. But the punishment, in my opinion, didn't even come close to what their crimes were or alleged crimes were. But the bottom line is that some of these people were way over prosecuted. They were in prison for far too long. And one of the best things, I believe, that Donald Trump did was pardon all those people. And they do deserve to be compensated.
I just read a case, and I reposted this on my X feed. John Cameron was a J6er. He said he protested a stolen election, walked past the police through an open door, and the police let me in. My father's stepson turned me into the FBI. My house was raided. They branded me a traitor and insurrectionist, slapped me on a terrorist watch list. I pleaded guilty to illegal picketing. That's a Class B petty offense misdemeanor with the same sentence guidelines as walking your dog off a leash in a national park. They swore no prison time, but they lied. They sentenced him to 30 days for not being remorseful enough and 3 years probation to tie him up through the elections. He called it an unconstitutional split sentence. The judge was Judge Hogan. He called J6 worse than the War of 1812. All I did was chant "Stop the Steal" inside the Capitol wearing the wrong T-shirt. And that's what happened to him.
Yep.
He's one of those people that is going to file a claim in that fund. And President Trump is using this not to advance himself, not to make himself any wealthier. He's using it to help the people that have been unjustly demonized by the DOJ during the Biden administration.
Well, and one of the things that people are saying is, and Sally says, are you saying 1.8 million? No, we said billion. It's 1.8 billion.
BBB, billion.
And
it's technically 1776.
Yes, he made it 1776.
Did he really?
$1.776 billion.
So just so you folks know, I don't take my outrage cues from the media or the Democrats, right? So I can't. So that's why I really don't know much about the story, because I'm outraged out over everything that the left is upset about all the time. It's like, God, every day they wake up with some new reason to be upset. But one of the things that they're saying is that it is a slush fund for politicians. And that's why Andy Ogles-Jones came out and he said, yeah, they took my phone. I am eligible for this, but I'm not going to try to, get money or whatever it is and try to file the claim. Marsha Blackburn and Bill Hagerty, I believe, would also be eligible for this. I don't know if, I had her on the phone. I should have asked her if she was going to do this. Dang it. Well, that's because I don't care about the story, really. But I think that for me, the J6ers, if we're going to keep the conversation focused on the J6ers, if I'm Marsha Blackburn, if I'm Bill Hagerty, I'm going to say this is a $1.8 billion fund, and I want that money to go to the J6ers. That's what they should do.
Yep.
Now, whether or not they will do that, I don't know. What I would say is that if you're a politician who, and I'm not rich shaming anybody, but if you're a politician who already has substantial wealth, the J6ers spent time in jail. Yeah. They are the ones that truly deserve the money. By the way, somebody said Hunter Biden is
also eligible. Yes.
So, and there's a man that needs the money.
So he would be eligible to apply.
Yep.
It doesn't mean that he would get anything.
Highly doubt. And in the January 6th conversation, glossing over, I know we learned it recently in the last year and change, but there were 270-something FBI agents in that crowd egging people on.
Absolutely right.
You set a trap. Yep. You get people manipulated to fall for it. You don't get punished. And they're all put in prison. I mean, one of the stories I found fascinating about that was the Enrique Tarrio, the leader of the Proud Boys, was sitting in a hotel room. And they came and arrested him and said he was part of the riot on Capitol Hill. Just because
he had intentions.
Because he had
intentions.
It was basically thought crimes. So he's going to come out and probably be. I don't agree with how the guy conducts himself. I don't agree with the organization. However, he's eligible to apply, and in his mind, he's stating he intends to seek between $2 and $5 million. That's separate from their lawsuit against the government that him and some other people have. That is looking like that's totaling $100 million in damages from the government over the prosecutions. But he was dragged out of a hotel room and accused of inciting the riot on the Capitol, even though there's FBI agents in the crowd actively encouraging people to go past the fence line and move inside.
And here's the deal. And by the way, we've triggered 2805. You guys realize that Hitler did this same exact thing with his followers. He made them rich. 2805. And anybody else who wants to throw in Hitler, like as a comparison to Donald Trump, I don't even listen to you anymore because I think that you're ridiculous.
Well, and how ridiculous is that? That was stolen art and artifacts. That's how his constituents in Germany got rich.
Did you ever see that movie with George Clooney?
Oh, yeah.
It's actually
Glorious
really
Bastards?
good. Yes, I think that was a really, really good movie. So
that's where we get the...
I'll make that deal. How about you bitch? You make that deal?
I'd make that deal.
I don't blame you. Damn good deal.
That's sound effects from that movie.
Okay, good. Let's see here. Joan, Sam, Mandis, y'all brainwashed morons is what 2805 is saying. Brainwashed morons.
That's all right.
That's interesting.
Do you know what? This morning I've actually been called a lot worse. So that's okay. It is 8:15 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Time to check the roads. As far as your weather goes, it looks like cloudy and humid today, a couple of showers and thunderstorms. High of 78, going to feel like 79. Appreciate you listening to Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I want to play this audio from old Hakeem Jeffries again, just because I think it is so ridiculous. Hakeem Jeffries is, and we talked about this, I think it was in the 5 o'clock hour, so forgive me, I'm repeating a topic, but Hakeem Jeffries is calling for black students in the across America to boycott black athletes, to boycott colleges in the South, and basically boycotting the SEC because of the gerrymandering, the redistricting. Listen to this.
To boycott institutions within the SEC that belong to states that have unleashed these Jim Crow-like racially oppressive tactics, which is unacceptable, unconscionable, and un-American. And we believe that the silence of these institutions is complicity. That's right. And we will not stand for it.
The golf clap is what does it for me. I talked about that earlier. So, to be clear, again, what he is saying is that black athletes should not accept the full ride scholarship to a university like the University of Tennessee, maybe Vanderbilt, whatever, because Democrats are losing their political battle. Now, this shows you the selfishness of the political left. Also, by the way, the NIL money as well. Give up your future for our fight. Unbelievable. They've identified 8 states, including Tennessee, also Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, Florida, Mississippi, Louisiana, and Texas. Now, what I said earlier was, okay, so you're some kid and you're living in like Compton, California, right? So California is a dumpster fire, and if California is a dumpster fire, then the raging inferno, the center of the fire is place like Compton or Watts, South Central Los Angeles, that kind of thing. So let's say that you're a kid in South Central Los Angeles, you're a black kid, and your mom's working 3 or 4 different jobs, no dad in the house, and you are trying to improve your lot in life by getting a scholarship to the University of Tennessee or to, Georgia, South Carolina, Roll Tide, whatever. And Hakeem Jeffries is going to tell you, no, don't do that because we're losing our political battle. The fact that Hakeem Jeffries doesn't see that and doesn't see how flawed their thinking is and how selfish that is and how narcissistic that is on the side of the Democrat Party, because you got the NAACP, you've got Hakeem Jeffries and the entire Congressional Black Caucus that are out there clapping for this crap.
We will continue to stand with the NAACP in encouraging athletes in our community to look elsewhere until these racially gerrymandered maps in the South are reversed, buried in the ground, never to rise again. Yes.
Golf clap.
Eat my shorts. Like that's all I gotta say to that dude at this point.
For some of these young athletes, this is a way out of poverty, right? Sports is a way out of crime-ridden communities and gangs like South Central Los Angeles. And I'm not just talking about sports. I mean, we're talking about the scholarship that comes with the sports, the NIL money as well. So, for me, and I do understand, most people don't seem to care about the scholarships these days. It's all about the Benjamins, which is fine. But part of what I mentioned earlier was Hakeem Jeffries saying, athletes, and I'm air quoting, in our community. Like he is somehow trying to equate him, who is worth between $2 and $5 million, or the average member of Congress worth $9 million, with some poor kid living in South Central Los Angeles who has an opportunity to go to a University of Tennessee or an LSU or University of Florida or whatever.
Well, and then the cost of living in those towns, right? Like if you're going to Tuscaloosa, it's pretty affordable to live there. Let's say you're not a starter, you're still getting NIL money. Maybe you move a relative with you and you guys are renting a place together because you can afford to do that in Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee. You cannot afford to do that California, New York, up right. Maryland, up in the Northeast, New Jersey, some of those other schools up there. You're not going to have the same cost of living.
No, and I got to tell you that, they are so obviously wrong-headed on this. And for the Democrats, I think that you look at this and you listen to this and you think, why would anyone in who is an athlete or not an athlete, but why would anyone in the black community not be offended by this? Not be offended by the Democrats, who, by the way, have made promise after promise after promise to a lot of these black communities and have not done diddly squat for these communities. Yet they're supposed to throw away their entire collegiate career, maybe a pro career, because there's some pretty good schools in the South. I mentioned just a few of them. The SEC, of course, we all know. Even I know. The SEC is the premier region for sports in college, in collegiate sports. SEC is the top one, right?
Absolutely.
All right, there you go.
Top in football, top in baseball. You could argue up there with basketball, softball.
You know what, though? What they need to do is they need to go to the University of Buffalo.
Ew.
That's what they need to do.
Well, and it's funny he says that. But where did one of his constituents who represents a district in Memphis attend college? That's right. Justin Pearson went all the way to Brunswick, Maine, one of the whitest towns possible, to go to school. So, don't even stay in your own community. You don't even build up your own community from that aspect, right?
Well, and so that basically, and I don't know any pro college athletes or anybody who is a former college athlete, now a pro, or used to be a college athlete, went on to do other things. But I would like to know what black players who used to play in the SEC, I would love to know what they think about all this. Because to throw away your collegiate career because the Democrats are losing, and the Democrats with their golf clap think that this is a good thing, if they think that this is a great way to get the black community on their side, I don't see that as happening. By the way, Scott Jennings had a lot to say about this.
I'm angry about politics. Therefore, you have to give up your dream of going to a Tennessee or a Florida or a Louisiana, an LSU. You have to give up your dream because I'm mad about politics. It is amazing to me that Hakeem Jeffries always finds his way into the most bizarre, ridiculous political position. What he is calling for and what the NAACP is calling for is, in essence, to resegregate the South and to resegregate universities in the South. Folks, it is the year of our Lord 2026. I don't think reinstalling segregation in the South because Hakeem Jeffries is mad that he didn't get his way on Democratic redistricting is really something we need to be talking about. But this is the modern Democratic Party, and this is what they've always done.
Yep.
They will take advantage of African-American voters. They will promise them things. But at the end of the day, African-American voters gain nothing by voting in a monolith for the Democratic Party. All they ever do is take advantage of them, and in this case, take advantage of these young athletes.
There you go.
To boycott.
So, yeah, that is Scott Jennings. Makes all the sense in the world. By the way, people Mario pointing out, no boycotting pro teams.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess I'm trying to follow the logic, actually. So if you are supposed to boycott, like if I'm some young black athlete in South Central Los Angeles, and I'm going to boycott all of these SEC colleges and so forth, well, then to what end? Like, okay, so I'm going to do that. But then what is supposed to happen? Is that supposed to then convince the state legislature and the governor to go against the Supreme Court and redistrict these redistricted districts? That doesn't make any sense.
No, in fact, what they would end up doing if they did that, they'd go to Cal or USC, right? They'd have probably a good career, and they'd probably maybe make an NFL team. Yep. They know if you get an opportunity to go to an SEC school, it doesn't matter if it's Missouri, South Carolina, Florida, whatever. Even Vanderbilt now at this point. I mean, they got the #1 quarterback in the class coming into this season. You're denying yourself an opportunity at the NFL in the same breath.
NAACP. National Alliance of Always Complaining People. 4702.
That's great.
4702 brings a little comedy. 826 on WTN. Jones got the news coming up at 8:30. Joan.
Yeah, coming up here, how a judge almost derailed the arrest of a couple of teenagers in Nashville. That story's coming up at 8:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and are you as excited as I am for the Glock Store's 6th annual open house? It is coming up on Saturday, May 30th. That is a week from this Saturday. Now, I've been telling you about the raffles, right? They've got a ton of raffles. So here's what happens. You show up at 10, you start entering in all the raffles. That goes until 2 o'clock. And in the process, the sooner that you start entering the raffles, the more likely you are to win, for example, a Glock, a Ruger, Red Dot Optics, maybe some Radian Ram jets, and a whole lot more. The raffles, they go on all day. I've been talking about how Father's Day is coming up. So if you've got a 2A loving husband or brother, dad, whatever, think about getting him something from the Glock Store. Go to the 6th annual open house at the Glock Store. Pick him up something there at a better than usual price, or maybe you'll win one of the raffles. They're going to have food trucks and vendors and great deals and amazing equipment and a whole lot more. By the way, speaking of amazing, Chris Hand's going to be there. Matt Murphy is going to be there, and some guy named Mandis as well. So come on out. Saturday, May 30th, it is the Glock Store's open house. They do it every year. It is the 2A event of the year at the Glock Store. Find them online, glockstore.com, shoot270.com. Dan Mandis here for my friends at Loan Pronto. Credit card interest rates, they are now over 29%. And most people are only making the minimum payment, so they're getting nowhere. Friends, it's Dan Mandis. But, here's what a lot of homeowners simply don't realize. Using the equity in your home, you can easily access hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash. With Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan, you can pay off your credit cards, your existing HELOC, your car loans, or get money for that home improvement project. One client utilizing Loan Pronto just got $100,000 approved and saved over $1,500 a month. And here's the best part. With Loan Pronto, you can do it all with your phone. With zero out-of-pocket expenses, no hard credit pull up front, no appraisal, no long drawn-out bank process, and by the way, the best part, at least for me, no touching that first mortgage. Now, rates are at near 3-year lows, so act right now. Go to loanpronto.com and see how much money you can get in about 60 seconds. Loan Pronto, 2,800 5-star Google reviews, 615-499-5780, 615-499-5780. Find them online anytime, loanpronto.com. That's loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, and MLSconsumeraccess.org.
Good morning. It's 8:33 now. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. The indictment of 94-year-old Raul Castro is being hailed by the families of some of his alleged victims. Miriam de la Pena is the mother of a pilot who was shot down by Cuban forces while carrying out a humanitarian mission in 1996.
We are a country of laws, and you are innocent until proven guilty, but he needs to prove himself innocent, which is going to be impossible for him because he gave the order.
The USS Nimitz, an aircraft carrier strike group, has now moved into the Caribbean. The city of Nashville suing Publix. The suit says that Publix has a role in oversupplying and the distribution of prescription opioids. And now the city wants to recover the money and resources it spent responding to the epidemic. In a lawsuit, the city said Tennessee was in the top 3 for opioid prescriptions in 2016 and saw more than 1,600 overdose deaths that year. And a couple of 17-year-olds are now under arrest, despite the best efforts of a Nashville judge. Those teens are charged with stealing 13 baseball gloves from the clubhouse at First Horizon Baseball Park early Saturday morning. They allegedly sold them to Play It Again Sports in Brentwood, which contacted police. A Nashville juvenile court magistrate denied police detectives' request for arrest orders, saying because these are property crimes, the judge could only issue a petition for delinquency. Well, Brentwood police got the arrest orders anyway from Williamson County. One of the teens surrendered to Brentwood police, the other arrested on Tuesday. They're under investigation for other sports-related robberies as well. That is the latest news. We've got traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and for over a year now, I've been talking about my friends at Contours LLC. Now, they use red light technology to get rid of body fat, and it's all the things we like. It's inexpensive, no pain, and no downtime. It really works, and I've been doing it for a while now, so is Matt Murphy. Now, I love hearing the success stories, and I met a guy named Gary a while ago who has done the treatments. He lost a ton of inches and weight.
The treatments that have been fantastic and the results I've been super pleased with. I made myself sick to look at me. That's why I came. I wanted to see some results.
By the way, Gary's whole story is on the WTN website and also on Contours' website, ContoursLLC.com. Gary went to Contours and spent $99 to try their introductory session and ended up purchasing a whole package. So be like Gary and start the journey to a new you today. Call Contours LLC 615-236-9960, 615-236-9960, or go online, ContoursLLC.com. After all, what have you got to lose but inches?
We have a crash in White House. This is on 65 southbound lanes at Springfield White House, exit number 108. It appears that all the through lanes are blocked off. This, by the way, is a tractor trailer and a minibus involved in this accident. Again, it's in White House at 65 southbound at Springfield White House. You've also got a crash on 440 westbound in Woodbine. This is right at Nolensville Pike, exit 6, the left shoulder blocked off, and one on Hermitage Avenue in Nashville, right at Stanley Street. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I have no idea what this is. 8:39.
Kind of weird.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Wasn't this the kid that went super viral?
Tay Zonday back in like 2010.
He had glasses, right?
Yeah.
What's the significance of this random piece of music?
It's Chocolate Rain. We're here to talk about the chocolate milk.
This was like one of the first viral videos on the internet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so...
It was like some young kid who was like, what? He was like 16, 17, but he had this voice that was just angelic.
Really? Is this what you call angelic?
Listen to this.
This is not angelic.
It was different.
Odd.
Hit differently on the early
Okay,
YouTube
good.
days.
Early internet was wild.
Well, not much was going on, apparently, in the early days of the internet.
There was
Plenty.
There was a lot happening.
Oh, yeah. It was before they banned death clips on the internet. You know?
You had to be there. Bottom text.
All right, so real quick, we had a bit of a, while you were out, we had a bit of a controversy yesterday.
What was the controversy?
Well, I got what could only be described as an annoyed text yesterday from Jackson asking me, where's the milk? Not where's the beef, but where's the milk? So we had Charlie Hatcher in here. He's running for the 5th, but he's a dairy farmer.
The fighting 5th.
What?
The fighting 5th.
Sure. So can I just ask, just on a side note, Joan, I think you're with me on this. I think that it's sport for Chris and Sam to try to throw out as many references that we don't get as possible
Yes,
in this segment. Is that what it is?
I think that's true. Yep.
It's like, let's just see. Yeah, let's just see how many references we can throw out that Mandis won't understand.
I didn't pick that music. I just got the reference. There wasn't like a plan behind that.
What else?
He told me that you were going to talk about chocolate milk, and I was like, okay, it's cool, let's go. and then he brought that, and I remember that from the internet.
Anyway, so Charlie brought in chocolate milk, one for me, one for Murphy. Super text line goes crazy about how Murphy doesn't drink chocolate milk. Or milk, I guess, in general. I guess he says that milk is for baby cows.
Is he lactose intolerant? Did we find his weakness?
I don't know. No, he just, for whatever reason, it is his official belief that, I guess, milk is for baby cows. But I thought cows, like, produce the milk, not drink the milk. I don't think, do cows drink milk?
Yes.
Do they?
Yeah. Well, that's what the udders are for, Dan.
Yeah. How do you
drink milk?
How do you think steak grows?
Like,
you water it with milk.
Every like mammal is drinking milk from their mother's teat.
That's
where it comes from. That's the milk that we then appropriate for our own uses.
Which is why I had to, we had to ask Dr. Manny Sethi about this alpha-gal syndrome and how it affects the processing of mammalian products, because that's what milk is.
Anyway, so I gave, because everybody said Murphy Show doesn't drink milk. So Sam is over there.
Frothing at the mouth.
Because he wants this.
Whole fat, delicious, Tennessee-raised and produced chocolate milk.
Yeah. So then I assume that Matt didn't want it because everybody said that he doesn't drink milk. So I gave it to Sam.
Was it your milk to give?
Apparently not. That was the conversation yesterday. You're such a parent.
Well, I'm just saying, what does Erica not like milk?
I don't know. I didn't think about it that far.
No, you didn't think about anybody but yourself, did you?
Actually, I was thinking, wow.
He was thinking of me and my needs. What?
So I want to make sure we have this right. So I got Chris, Joan, apparently Matt with what happened yesterday, and we've got the audio, and Jackson.
Yeah.
Yelling at me because I gave Sam milk. And by the way,
listen, I didn't yell, and I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
There's
right.
16 grams.
That's a dad move.
16 grams of protein in that chocolate milk, by the way.
Also, he's running for an office, and he brings you in a gift like that. Is that frowned upon?
No, we call that a sample, like Sam's Club.
Is he buying your vote?
Dan thinks chocolate milk comes from brown cows. No, I never said that. I'm just like trying to figure out what Murphy meant by milk is for baby calves.
Because that's the ones that are supposed to be going to the mother's teat.
That's the leftist argument that we shouldn't be drinking cow's milk, if I'm being honest, Matt Murphy.
Whatever. I've never stepped foot on a farm, so I don't. Whatever. But anyway, so
You've never stepped foot on a farm?
No.
Come on, I'm not surprised
that's
by that.
bovine scatology.
Giving us
You've done it by accident at one point.
No, I've been on a petting zoo. But the calves weren't drinking. I guess they do. Yeah, right. I guess they do, don't they?
That would qualify.
But do you mean like a working farm that produces crops and livestock?
You said I've been to a petting zoo.
Whatever. Play the audio.
As we are able. Jackson?
Yes.
I think I have some new information regarding the Mandis milk scandal.
Oh, I do too. I've texted with Dan Mandis.
Oh, have you now?
Yes.
Uh-huh. And what have you... So is it... or is it not true that Mandis had Charlie Hatcher on his program this morning?
He did.
And is it or is it not true that Charlie Hatcher left milk for the afternoon show?
That is supposedly true. I have a statement from Mandis.
Oh, you have a Mandis statement?
Yes.
Oh, well, by all means, deliver us the statement.
I requested statement or response. I said, Matt is wondering what happened to his chocolate milk from Charlie Hatcher.
Uh-huh.
Mandis responds, he doesn't drink milk. I gave it to Sam.
What? 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 He just gave it to who he thought he wanted to give it to? It was not his to give.
I didn't hear that.
It was not his to give.
I agree.
Is Mandis some sort of liberal Freddie O'Connell politician just handing out other people's things willy-nilly without regard for the consequences? My goodness. Is Mandis... Dare we call it socialism? Dare we call it socialism? I dare. My goodness gracious. To each... Or what is it? From each according to their ability, to each according to their need. So Mandis felt like Sam needed some chocolate milk in his life, so he just hands out my chocolate milk?
I did need it.
That would seem to be the case.
How dare you? How dare you?
You got to look out for that brother Dan Mandis.
Dan Mandis of Nashville's Morning News. Quite a good show. I will say that.
How dare you?
Thank you. Thank you very much. I can't say anything about his show because it's a quality program. But I'm beginning to question his morals if he's handing out my milk. I mean, Ken.
Were you going to drink it?
No, I would have given it to you guys.
So, Ken, me and you were really the ones who got miffed out of this whole...
Y'all got the shaft because of Mandis, Mr. Sticky Fingers taking our milk and handing it out to his producer.
We're on the losing end of a socialist decision.
You are on the losing end of the teat.
I swear I didn't hear that beforehand or live. I'm
the whole not yours to give thing?
I didn't hear that. I didn't hear his use of the word teat either.
Are y'all allowed to say that on the radio?
Yes.
Teat.
Science term.
T-E-E-T. Teat.
Dan supports milk equity.
So do you have anything to say for yourself? Are you going to take that sitting down from this afternoon host?
Yeah, I am.
Wow.
Full surrender.
Because
so
you know what?
Disappointed.
Wow, 55-63. Mandis deserves a punch in the face. Really?
Whoa.
What's wrong with you people?
That's
a little
harsh.
overboard.
You can punch me in the gut and taste the chocolate milk from yesterday.
0168. Mandis hanging around petting zoos. That's creepy.
No, as far as I'm concerned, the goats are safe around Dan. Other people we have to worry about.
Anyway, so
7679 would prefer that you use the term booby.
That's a bird, by the way, the booby.
The booby bird?
Booby bird?
There is a bird called the booby.
You've been listening to Chad's show.
Does he talk about booby birds?
He talks about all the bird names.
Boobies are a family of large seabirds known for their colorful feet, like the blue-footed booby, and dramatic plunge diving for fish, despite being clumsy on land. Those clumsy boobies.
Plunge diving.
I wonder if it sounds like this on the way down.
Oh my God.
Terrible.
Dude, you are killing me, man.
Oh my gosh.
This is the show that Murphy says is good.
Quality listening.
So, do I need to...
I think you need to respond.
By the way,
And
John
I
in
think
Lawrenceburg says you didn't pull the Bernie impersonation.
There's a Bernie impersonation?
Apparently somewhere.
That was just the first few minutes.
I think that you need to respond, and I think you need to respond forcefully.
Okay. How about if I just send Jackson and Weaver some milk from Hatcher's farm?
No.
Send them a gift card so they got to do the footwork.
Or just get them some big brand chocolate milk.
It's not the same as Hatcher's. I'm going to be honest with you.
That's the point.
Best I can do is Heritage.
80
Prairie Farms.
Red Cap. Let's see here. Is Dan breastfeeding Sam?
No.
That's kind of weird.
That is weird.
Yeah, you thought I could make it weird, and then you decided to read that.
I think the liberals call it chest feeding.
Ugh.
So.
Ugh.
That's what they
So
do.
people.
Many such cases.
So people are laughing at the whole baby cow thing, and I'm like,
Yeah, I don't know what were you thinking?
I've never been around cows. I don't know. And did I take biology? Of course I took biology. I know that, because I just got done with my daughter, and she's trying to breastfeed little Lincoln so he can produce the Lincoln logs. I've been through the whole breastfeeding gamut over the past couple of days. Last thing I think about is calves sucking on the booby of their the teat of their mothers.
The latching.
The latching. That's exactly right. So, I don't know.
You haven't been thinking about it at all, have you?
Dan Short. I'm not gonna talk about this anymore.
No. Now you got to read it. You don't get to read one about breastfeeding me and then skip over one disparaging you.
Dan Short-Titted Matt. I don't even know what that means. What does that even mean?
I don't know.
It's gibberish,
Are you
but it's
allowed
funny.
to say that on the air?
I think so. Well, I just did. Is
Yeah.
it too late to dump? Should I dump that?
I wouldn't.
You can say this. Oh, man.
Hey, side note, do you know, what are you doing tonight? Are you going to watch the final episode of the Colbert show on CBS?
Sure. I'm going to tape it for posterity.
Do you think he's going to cry? What's the over-under on Colbert crying? If you were going to bet, do you think he
Pretty
cries?
good. It's pretty good.
Cries more than once, I'd put money on, and kisses another man, I would also put money
Yeah,
on.
I saw that over the weekend.
What?
Yeah, he kissed Pedro Pascal,
gross.
Who's Pedro Pascal?
the Mandalorian.
Why would he do that? Why would
Ratings?
anybody?
Yeah.
I mean, he can't get it any other way, so.
Can I say, okay,
Damn.
Tell us
can
how
I
you
ask you a
really
question,
feel,
though?
Joan.
So, I don't know, speaking as a guy, the last thing I want to see is two men kissing. What would that do for his ratings?
I don't know.
I don't think it's so much about the ratings as maybe the career he's pining for after this.
Gay porn?
Oh.
It's okay.
Why?
I was going to say
If he's
acting.
kissing Pedro Pascal, then that would indeed be gay porn.
Well,
Just anything Netflix makes.
Anyway, so no, I will not be watching it. Will you?
no, I'm going to bed as soon as I can.
Valerie says the milk fiasco. I totally sympathize with Ken and Jackson.
I regret nothing.
No, of course you don't. You're the one that received the stolen property. I'm the one that.
Received and ingested.
And then I proceeded. I had to describe to Mason because Mason and dairy they don't mix so well with that sometimes. He was just like, tell it to me. Is it good? I was like, it's the best.
0704 said this is utterly ridiculous. Of course.
Quit trying to spoil this segment.
You know what I feel? I feel a little bad because I believe a man of certain moral character, and I feel bad that I actually did give you this. You know what? Sam pressured me into it.
I did.
You shouldn't feel bad.
I'll own that. It was delicious.
If you're going to apologize to
You
anybody, it would be Erica, not Jackson.
You
Jackson
succumb to
deserves
social
nothing.
pressure.
Well,
you know what? I blame Joan.
I wasn't even here.
Exactly. You're the mom of the show. You're the one that would have said, you know what, Dan, it's not your milk to give.
That's the problem.
And now I feel bad. So now what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to go to hatcherfarms.com and order some milk for Jackson and Ken.
I doubt that very seriously. In fact, I feel like I would have gone to the break room and gotten Joan a cup, and we would have shared it.
By the way, this is the first time I'm getting to talk to you guys since the grandbabies arrived. How's everybody's grandbabies doing?
So good.
Good. Yeah.
So it sounds
Joan,
like
how's your luggage?
Is Jones doing better than Dan's? Because Joan is like very enthusiastic.
Well, see, I got to spend some quality time. Like I got to spend a whole week holding him, helping around the house. Just like doing the grandmotherly thing. So
she
was
earned
fun.
that time considering what the cat did.
What'd the cat do?
The cat peed into her luggage.
And pooped. Don't forget
pooped.
about the poop. Yeah.
Cat logs right into her luggage.
Yeah.
So anyway.
That's disgusting.
That was after Southwest Airlines lost my luggage.
Yep.
Oh.
Dan
When it finally
Mandis,
showed up, the cat.
Dan
used it
Mandis
as
was
a
an
litter
utter
box.
failure in science class. By the way, it's what people are saying now. This is my life now. This is what I'm going to be known for.
Welcome.
Might be time to move it on.
Y'all are making the situation worse.
No, we're milking the situation.
Very titillating conversation. Are we just going to do this all day?
I think so.
Listen, you grab a pail and, start squeezing.
Murphy texted and he said the milk situation has really turned out quite nicely. I'm feeling great. Milk-free is the way to be.
Lies.
I apologize to Jackson and Ken for giving away their milk, and to Erica as well. I'll be ordering some milk for them in the very near future. I feel very bad.
Hatcher Farms needs to get some drone drop shipping.
The funny part about this is I do honestly believe Dan feels bad about it.
I do. I honestly do. I feel bad.
At the end of the day, Dan is like, yeah, I probably should have thought of others.
I probably should have thought about it.
Dan, I appreciate what you did, and I'll never forget it.
You're the reason I'm in this mess now.
What?
I'm gonna be living with this all day. That I gave away the chocolate milk, and that I didn't know the biology between how calves survive. I'm gonna all day long. I'm gonna be thinking about you know me.
I know.
I'm
Dan
gonna be
is,
all day long. I'm gonna be obsessing over this.
Dan is going to beat himself up.
What
over
you
this.
should do is you order Jameson that toy, right? You pull the cord and it spins around to different animals, and it.
Yeah.
The cow says. Moo.
See, I would go the other way. I would order more chocolate milk and not give it to them.
Yes.
And just drink it on the show. Take a break from Wally'sBeanMachine.com.
Yeah.
Just for a day or two and only drink the chocolate milk, but don't bring any for anyone else. I would lean in.
Like a fiend.
Get your own chocolate milk.
All right. Anyway, what is Joan was coming up at 9?
Well, milk, of course. And also, we'll
I
tell you
want to
about
go home.
the Biden administration official who is now under arrest for saving recipes on her computer. Yeah, we'll explain that coming up at 9 here on
Now,
Super Talk.
in fairness, I truly have never been on a farm, like a working farm. I have never been on a farm.
I doubt that. I doubt.
I've never. What would I be doing on a farm? I grew up in Los Angeles.
By accident?
No. When you got lost on a farm?
You lived in Indiana. It's like a bunch of them.
Yeah, but I lived in the suburbs. I didn't go to the farms.
I just don't believe that.
Did you ever go get eggs from a farm?
From a stand on the side of the road. That's not wading onto a farm with all the cows and the calves and everything.
Was the stand farm adjacent?
It's like a farm adjacent. That's exactly what it is. It's farm adjacent.
I've been farm adjacent.
Dan has never been around cows.
What? Say it.
Nothing.
You have to read
No, I'm not going to say
Out with it, Dan.
Nope.
All right.
I'm not going to say it.
Do I have to open the text line? Is that what's
Nope.
going on?
Stoltzco. Dan Mandis here for Stoltzco, a great Tennessee company. They do continue to grow and expand. I bet you they have some pole barns on some farms. I bet you they do. And I bet you they were built by Stoltzco.
You would never know.
They do build pole barns. These pole barns can serve as a garage, an event space, an equestrian building, barn dominiums. You can live in these pole barns from Stoltzco. They do great pole barns at Stoltzco. They're now offering you turnkey options. That means they handle the design, the construction, and the amazing finishing touches. You turn the key and you are home, courtesy of my friends at Stoltzco. Call them 615-622-5992, 615-622-5992. You can find them on Instagram and Facebook to see examples of their incredible work around Middle Tennessee. STOLTZCO, Stoltzco.com.